Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome back to the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Grand Finals. I am MXL, joined once again by the lovely Thousand Eyes. How are you doing tonight, Tessa?
I'm doing good. I have not casted League of Legends in a while, and I'm very excited to be back. I'm very excited to be back on CEA because it's always a fun time, and we get very wild games consistently. I feel like every time we cast this league, so I'm hoping that doesn't change.
Yeah, I think that's putting it lightly. We've had some pretty chaotic series in the past. I think back to 6 months prior in the spring. One of the final sets of all time, in a good way. I think it was really, really fun to watch those games progress. But today, beautiful start to this, eh? But yeah, absolutely. Very excited to be in for this set today. We've got Red Ventures taking on Retirement Home. So Red Ventures against AWS. This is not a set of teams that I think we've seen before. We've had Amazon like floating around, but
I don't think AWS specifically.
Yeah.
So unless the teams are split now or something like that, I don't recognize the players. I believe we're just getting new teams, which is really cool because for a long time we have just had a lot of the same like 3 teams or so, just kind of like filtering in, and Amazon has always been kind of the big dog. So now seeing a new set of teams come in with their own new players, and just going off of the little bit of background we've been able to figure out, like good players as well. It's gonna be a very, very interesting series, and I think we're gonna get a lot of cool new blood into the scene here.
Well, yeah, and speaking of that new blood, just want to take a second to run through these two teams. So starting on the blue side for game number 1 of this series is going to be Red Ventures with their top laner, Youngest Lee. We've got oh, these things are all messed up on my sheet. Reggie coming in the jungle. It's great. We're Minazuki coming in for the mid lane. And then Shrimp and Wild Psyduck is a crazy bot lane pairing for names. Very excited to see what's going to happen for the Pokemon in the bot lane.
Yeah, no, I'm a little concerned about that. Meanwhile, on the other side here, and I'm not sure exactly where everybody's going at this point. I'm gonna go off of what we have in front of us, which I believe is Romy in the top lane, Seiko Mode in the jungle, Oolong Tea in the mid lane, and Kidu in the AD carry position, and Omli in support.
Yeah, looks like there's some fills that have come in, some substitutions required throughout playoffs. So of course, roles can be kind of up in the air. Yeah, there's going to be the ability for these players. I believe it's games 1, 3, and 5. They can kind of just go wherever. Games 2 and 4 will be more rigid in terms of what roles they are going to be partaking in. But we should be getting into the draft for this first game. Best of 5 in Fearless as well. Always a blast to see what happens, especially once we start getting towards games 4, game 5.
Yeah. And also specifically, we don't have Zahen available.
Yes.
However, what we do have is a lot of new jungle champions that can exist. And I'm very curious if we are going to get some of those weird junglers, if anybody's practiced anything, or if they have like some familiarity on the champion and are willing to just pull it out today. Because I know Ambessa jungle is apparently just absurd right now. Ornn jungle exists, which I don't know how I feel about that one, but it is there. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things to keep an eye on, and it is going to shift up specifically just how you build your team comps. Because when you look at jungle champions for so long now, it's been difficult to get like a real hard tank. Ever since Skarner got nerfed, it has been difficult to get a very like heavy tank in the jungle position with a lot of CC. And now with Ornn coming along to kind of shift that up, you might get some interesting team composition.
Yeah, and with some of the more interesting jungle champs that Riot is trying to force as of late, there's some interesting tech that can come through, and this patch has only been out for, 2 or 3 days at this point, it feels like. So Interested to see if we'll see any of these more obscure champions. I think of Jace first and foremost. Getting 50 damage on the Q against jungle monsters is kind of insane. And
Mhm.
there's some cool tech with that. You can use the Q in ranged form to get like a little bit of vision. You hit something, you can then Q over a wall in melee form to get on
Yeah.
top of it. So like small micro optimizations like that could always be fun. I don't think we see Jace jungle today. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that. But
If it happens, I'm blaming you for
okay,
that. Like
that's totally
I'm
fair.
making that your fault. Um but yeah, no, like I have a friend who is a very good jungler, puts out jungle clear videos specifically.
Mhm.
And she has been doing a lot with the new champions. Believe she got Ornn down to like a 302 jungle clear, full clear, one smite. Like it's
Oh, okay. We hype all this up and then we just get Zinzao right away as we are in
all
this
right.
draft for
Well,
game one. So a lot of jungle focus. This is 6 junglers banned and then Zinzao locked in right away. So this already screams what we're going to see across this series. And if this is going to be the case, we might start seeing some of these more niche picks.
I was gonna
Something
say,
like the
yeah,
Ornn, the
it
Aatrox
is
even.
it is 6 normal junglers.
Yeah.
So we are opening ourselves up for shenanigans very quickly. We are going to see the Orianna taken. Nocturne is still on the board, so there, we do have the possibility of going the Orianna Nocturne without Jarvan. That is kind of one of those picks you might try to lock in sooner rather than later so that that doesn't get banned away as well. But it is going to be the Tristana pickup, an 80 carry that we haven't seen the most of lately, but I believe has been coming a little bit back up on the rise.
Yeah, and thinking of other junglers that are available, with this many off the table already, right? What is left? You mentioned the Nocturne for the Nocturne Ori pairing. I would expect to see that taken third, but if it's not, we start falling to things like I think the Kiana still fairly strong,
Yeah.
but like what's left at that point? There's already 7 junglers off the table and it's game 1.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at like at that point you're getting into pocket picks of just like what do you want to run, what are you comfortable running that can fit your team comp, and that's going to be entirely player dependent. But as far as meta picks go, yeah, they're either banned or taken here. The Morgana is interesting because Morgana has not been relevant as a champion for a long time. I know you're happy about that.
I mean, yeah, not relevant is the nicest way to put it. It's not going to be support. I can almost guarantee you that. That champ is not good in that role, unfortunately. It's probably just going to be mid, look to neutralize the Orianna, play this safe lane. The Nocturne on 3 we're seeing as expected. And now you can't ban more junglers. There's no reason to. So what's coming up next?
I was gonna say, you can. It's not the smart decision, but you can. I would probably expect to see some maybe mid. No, because it's if you're expecting the Morgana to be mid, then you're still banning each other out in exactly the same position. So it does put teams into like okay, we need to ban what we know we don't want to pick.
Yeah.
Which does start to get a little funky. We're looking at top laners, we're looking at supports. Looking at retirement home, we've got a bit of the engage already, which is great for them. RV, on the other hand, they kind of want to take away maybe some frontline here, because that's the thing that retirement home are missing pretty heavily, and that's why that Ornn gets banned away. Possible to see another maybe tank support and maybe frontliner support taken away, or at least a tank top laner possibly as well, to try and open themselves up for maybe something a little bit more aggressive in the top lane.
Yeah, and crazy to see 2 more junglers getting banned in the second phase anyway. They are both top laners, to be fair, before they were junglers, but interesting to note. I do really like seeing the Alistar ban when you are playing this heavy a dive composition coming out from retirement home as well. A lot of peel that champion would offer. They also are reading this Morgana as being in the mid lane, so I think that is the correct read. The Nautilus lock, though, concerns me a little bit, especially when you see you're into Morgana.
It is a hard pick to play into Morgana. It's not what I would pick. I think something like the Rel could be a little more impactful if it was on the other team here. However, Nautilus does at least fill that role of being a frontline engage type champion here, and you can play around the Black Shield cooldown because mid lane more one. You're gonna have the ability to engage on the bot side. Morgana's not gonna be super relevant in terms of just what happens on the bot lane, and getting Tristana ahead could be really nice. On the other thing too is that the Black Shield is not going to be maxed until late here. It's
Yeah.
not support Morgana. You're going for that full AP wave clearing type of Morgana, and that means the Black Shield cooldown will be a bit longer.
Yeah, and it is a relatively strong ability, but for the most part, it is one of those you have to use it on the right thing, right? So it seems fairly straightforward this game. Nautilus ult is kind of the right thing, uh,
Hmm.
with an argument to be made for the hook, I guess. But like, you're not black shielding Nocturne in most cases. You're probably not going to be black shielding Tristana. Oriana's just going to break it anyway, so who cares, right? So
Hmm.
it seems like a relatively easy game to be piloting Morgana, but on the flip side, that's a lot of dive, and that is one juicy looking Corki.
Yeah, Corki is going to have a bit of a rough time here. There's a lot of cooldowns that need to get put out before Corki's going to feel safe. Really hard engaging in a fight. The poking from the Corki missiles can be nice, but Corki's range is so low that you're looking at, okay, there's a Nautilus hook I gotta watch for, Gnar jumping in with ultimate, the Nocturne flying in with an Oriana ball on top. Like there's a lot of things that you're waiting to go down before you can get involved in the fight.
Yeah.
So they've got to find ways to open up for Corki to actually get into these fights. And granted, they have at the end of this draft gotten enough frontline, I think, for the Corki to be able to do that. But with a mid lane Morgana coming in as well, there's a lot put on this Corki's shoulders to
Yes.
output enough damage for the team. Corki can do that, but again, that range issue can come into play.
Yeah, and Morgana not necessarily known for being a super high damage output champion, of course.
Yeah.
You will more than likely just end up being a wave clear bot, try and play with your jungler, get Xin
Lian,
Zhao super far ahead.
Blackfire,
Yeah, like
yummy.
it's just you're kind of there, right? You're
Burn
hoping that you can help you
applier.
the rest of your team carry. Um, so we'll see how that pans out. Of course, I do want to look at this top lane matchup. We saw those last two picks locked in the Mbessa and the Gnar. So with all the craziness that we were potentially expecting to see, it rounds out with mostly standard drafts.
Yeah, it for the most part, yeah, it does. Also, kind of do want to point out too, all of these buffs to top laners like Ambessa to allow them to clear jungle better does mean that their neutral camp killing is going to be a bit better as
Yes.
well. So Baron, Grubs, Rift Herald is going to be on the table here for Ambessa to really help Xin Zhao clear those out faster than you would usually expect. So it's a small thing, but it does impact in terms of just how fast your internal timer is on how long it takes to get some of these camps down.
Yeah, and that is something to take note of. I do expect to see these teams playing very aggressively towards that top half. Specifically, you mentioned the Grubs. I think that is exactly where we'll be looking to see a lot of early action. You have things like the Morgana and the Mbessa, which will assist to that clearing of that camp super easily. But on the flip side, Nocturne Ori just want to fight. You have the Gnar also kind of just wanting to fight. So there's a lot of aggression that we should be expecting to see around that Grub spawn timer.
Yeah, can heavily expect that. Also, since we are running Fearless, does mean we're not going to see Ambessa jungle today. We are just getting Ambessa in the top lane.
It is one of the weird ones off the table. Of course,
Yeah,
doesn't stop us from seeing some of the other potentially interesting picks.
we
that
could
can
see
come out,
Ord, we could see Jace.
yeah, and that
There's still a lot.
that seems more like it'll be a game 3, game 4 kind of champion, but you never know. Anything is really possible when it comes to this type of thing. So, um, interested to see how the draft will evolve. Of course, we said 6 jungle bans, jungler first picked right away. What's left? Like, are you going to just see these 6 champs banned every single game? Do you think we actually see 6 junglers banned at the start of games 2 through 5?
No, I think realistically at some point we're gonna start saying, because like what is going to happen is blue side is gonna say, okay, well we want this champ, so we're gonna leave it unbanned, and then the trade can happen. Okay, we're gonna not ban this other thing so that we can take one of these two good champions. I think that's probably what's likely to happen as we go into more drafts, but it is possible, depending on how the draft kind of ends up, that some of these might not get through. Stuff like the Rengar. Rengar is a very specialist pick. So I'm assuming if that's getting banned consistently. But like the Wukong, the Jarvan, the Vi, these are all longtime mainstays that most junglers have some idea of how to play. Those ones might start getting let through as maybe you look to try and keep some other counters or maybe some pocket picks later into the series come through.
Yeah, well, you will have to see how that all shakes out with all the excitement around what we could have seen in this draft. A relatively standard game one on the plate. We'll be right back after a short break. We are back on the snowy Summoner's Rift here for game number one. RV versus Retirement Home. Very excited to see these two teams. MXL joined once again by Thousand Eyes, and excited to see what's going to happen here in this first game. We expect to see action around that level 6 point top side, but before that, Tessa, what are we thinking?
I mean, I think realistically, if there's going to be any kind of action from a team, it's gonna be RV. They have that Xin Zhao, which wants to get active a little bit earlier. The quirky damage early on can be really good. One Morgana Q can just change an early game fight. You look at the other side, Orianna, Tristana, Nocturne, these are all champs that want at least a little bit of time to scale. And I would expect probably got to be waiting at least a little bit unless a really good hook comes out from the bot lane or there's a really good angle for Oolong T to go for a gank.
Yeah, a lot of these lanes seem kind of slow. Mbessa, relatively weak early lane. Morgana, extremely weak early lane. And Trist can make a lane explosive, but I think the Rel will help neutralize that a lot bot side. So probably will be a relatively slow game. Expect to see... Well, I say Mbessa has a weak early lane, but aggressive trade forward from Youngest Lee and already having a field day with Romi's Gnar.
I mean, one of the weaknesses that Gnar does have is champions that can get onto him specifically when he's in tiny form. And Ambessa has the mobility to do so. She can trade when she wants to. She can avoid trading when she wants to. It's why a champ like Irelia is really good into Gnar. And Ambessa fits a lot of the same archetype in that sense. So it does make sense. However, yeah, if you trade like that into Mega Gnar, you're probably not going to have as good a time.
Yeah, Romy turning that trade back around a little bit, so making the lane a little rougher. And this is one of the strengths of that Gnar, being able to play from range, try and just whittle down your opponent in that early stage. Is a lot of posturing happening in that bot lane, and our camera loves to try to go back there, but not a whole lot of fighting quite yet.
So many people. So many people in the bot lane. Meanwhile, we have level 3s getting hit. Also, mid lane, seeing the Orianna here only has been really good.
Hook comes through. We're seeing the Rel walk on in. Triss getting exhausted as well. Corki trying so hard to go for it, and Kidu's gonna fall. Tristana trying to get out as well. Psyduck just gonna mount up, force the flash out from the Triss, and all said, 1-for-0. First blood going over to that Corki. Very strong start.
And that's the early game damage that Corki can have. Set up perfectly there for Shrimp to just fly in, get all the damage down. Also the exhaust onto the Tristana, making that entire engagement just very lopsided. So Tristana could not do a whole lot to get Enkidu out of that fight. Does fall first blood going over to RB.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's kind of forgotten about. We haven't seen a ton of exhaust as actually trade happening here in the top side. Romy going in onto Youngest Lee will find the solo kill with the boulder toss. Big pickup for the Gnar in the top side.
That's where there's long cooldowns on the Ambessa can come into play. They're very smart to play around that. Romy gets in, gets the kill. A nice early lead here for the Gnar in a spot that, you know, we can say we expected it in terms of the matchup, but considering how early that lane was going, Romy being able to turn that around is very, very good for them.
Yeah, this wave, though, is in such a bad spot for Romy, and the reset getting canceled as well. Although it looks like canceling that reset will help break that free, so maybe not the end of the world for Romy there. But to go back to that fight in that bot side, you mentioned how big that exhaust into the Tristana was, and this is a summoner we have not seen supports take in a very long time. So it's interesting to see how much it's just warping that 2v2 in seeing it not necessarily disrespected, but almost forgotten about.
I mean, you look at Tristana's damage profile, so much of it is around the bomb burst, which you can just exhaust. You could just throw down the exhaust and on that timing, and a lot of Tristana's damage is just negated thanks to the exhaust right on the burst potential there.
Yep.
So it makes sense why you'd want to take that, especially if you're looking to try and get engagements like we've seen on this bot side already from RB. They're playing forward and aggressive, calling in for jungle backup because they know there is a possibility here. If they sit up too long, Nocturne might be nearby.
Yeah, and it looks like could potentially be close to that level 6 mark. So maybe we see Retirement Home looking to take that fight. Trying to at least bait it from the looks of things, but meanwhile, back in the top side. Oh, no, we're coming back bot, actually. Oolong T is in the area, running forward on the Nocturne, but Reggie is here and finds the counter gank, gets 2 kills in that bottom side, and now Trist just has to jump away and watch as their dreams crumble. Big set of kills going over to the jungler for RV.
The bait of a lifetime there. Psyduck just walking away like, no, I'm an innocent Rel, please, no. And then in comes Reggae there with the Jin Zhao. Beautiful engage from Psyduck. His top lane fight.
Popped. We see the wallop come through as well. The boulder tosses are coming through. Flash still available for Youngest Lee. Almost predicted from Romy, but does get out of that one. Big fight win for Romy in that top side.
And the Gnar has been really good here, but now we're in mini.
Yeah, no ult available for Youngest Lee. The jump forward, the shield coming through. Is it going to be enough? It's the solo kill for Romy.
It's the solo kill. Oolong T just said, "Hey, I want to get up top lane. I'm gonna use this as a transportation point. That's a bus stop for me now." There is the tower plate as well. things already falling apart for Youngest Lee in the top lane.
Yeah, but look across the rest of the map right now. This Xin Zhao, slightly ahead in terms of gold, has gone down about 5 camps in farm, unfortunately, but making an impact across the map. You mentioned that Nocturnal being used in the top side, wanting to secure that kill. Seeing a Nocturne get nothing off the first ult it's pretty tough to watch. It makes it harder for this champion to really accelerate the game like he wants to and sometimes even needs to, and this feels like that type of game, especially with that ult down for Grub Fight.
Nocturne is just such a tempo-based champion, so when you see that first ultimate, it's talked about so much, but for good reason. If it does not go well, which that one really did not accomplish anything, it's a long cooldown that you're waiting to come back. Meanwhile, you look at the Xin Zhao, all ready for a fight. Nocturne still only halfway off the cooldown. With all of that, they do get a shockwave, but the Grub's still gonna go over to RV.
Yep. 3 for 3 on those Grubs as well. So, yeah, there wasn't really much of an ability to fight. That Nocturnal already burned, like you had mentioned. The combo just wasn't there. So the best they could hope for was maybe to get a Grub with the Ori. Just an unfortunate sequence of events. So, while yes, Romy is 2-0 on this Gnar, not quite able to transition it how I think they would want.
Yeah, it's a tough time here now because Gnar just can't do anything in that bot lane. I don't know if that hook was what you entirely wanted.
Yeah, I don't know if that one should have landed. That was a lollipop moment for sure, but stun coming through from Rel. Good ult to disengage that fight from Romy as well. Just playing on the edge with this Gnar so far.
Not afraid to use it either, just to get out of that sticky situation. Most importantly, keep the HP up, because the HP in these situations becomes a very precious resource, because you're going to have to tank some hits in order to get any kind of minions. So the less that you have given away freely, the more you have to trade for last hits, which will keep the Gnar relevant in this game, even if Gnar can't put out the pressure like he has been when it was that 1v1 lane.
Yeah, and even if you don't necessarily get the creeps themselves, as long as you have enough health to just stay alive, soak the XP, you're doing fine. As Romy's just playing with fire in the top side, face tanking a Corki, for lack of a better phrase, and perfectly content with it from the looks of things. Got the trade and kind of went even in a 1v2.
Romy is a fire eater at the moment. Yeah. Like, Romy is just playing with fire and winning. Coming out really ahead here. The Mbessa getting put in the top side to just grab those minions. It's fine, but Gnar is not really getting put behind by this either.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned, was able to just kind of soak in that wave. Did end up teleporting up to that top side, so that summoner will be advantaged for the Mbessa right around that Drake spawn timer in a minute. So could potentially see that transition into something. I'm not too sure. We'll see if anything comes of it, but one of the strengths of Gnar too is that he has this ability to just kind of shred through a turret surprisingly fast early on. Extra attack speed on that mini Gnar jump, and all of a sudden, if you teleport away, your turret could very well fall shortly thereafter.
And we see the swap back to the solo lanes because the dragon will be spawning in a little bit here, and they want both of their bot laners back in that area for the possibility of the fight. And Mbessa kind of just getting walked around here, but for the betterment of the team at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just taking it as it lies for the moment, and hoping to stay relevant enough as the dredge line connects on the reset. Not much gonna come of that. Wild Psyduck able to just jump away afterward, but almost looked like that was a good timer. What this does end up doing, delaying that reset for the Rel, might even force that Rel to stick around for this Drake fight.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the Corki just backing in plain view does give this dragon away. It becomes very difficult for RV to walk up and try and contest this because their wave position was just in such a bad spot. Now they have the ability. The TP's coming in as well.
Dredge line connects. Rel jumping into the back line, and the Nautilus missing the flash over the wall. Nocturne trying to ult out as well. Oolong T falling at the end of it. and Reggie cleans up the kill on the Nautilus at the end. A 3-for-0 in the bot river, the Hex Drake going over, and RV confidently in the driver's seat in game 1.
The rel engages have been absurd this game. Multiple times we have seen the rel W hitting 3 people now. And that is a game changer in terms of these fights. The CC across everybody. When you're looking at a Nocturne, you're looking at a Nautilus that only has a Kindle Gem in terms of tank stats right now. There is so little you can do when it's just like, yeah, rel W into Quirky Q across everybody. The Morgana able to show up in that fight as well. It's a lot of AoE damage all hitting multiple people at the same time.
Yeah, the one maybe silver lining here for the side of Retirement Home is Youngest Lee did teleport away, got nothing. 0-2-0 on the Ambassador. Your team won the fight, sure, but no kill gold, no assist gold, teleports away from the wave, and now Gnar picks up another 2-3 plates in that top side. So this Gnar is even more accelerated for Romy. This is the thing that it seems like Retirement Home has to play around at this point.
And it's not a fun thing to try and play around either. The Gnar is not the world's greatest type of split pusher, not world's greatest team fighter. The bonus is supposed to be that Gnar is flexible in that and has the ability to just be a lane bully while also being a great engagement tool if in the right situation. But when you're putting Gnar in this situation where you're just forced into a specific type of role, the weaknesses can start to show there. Doesn't help when you're missing ultimates either.
Yeah, swing and a miss for Romy on that one, but no harm, no foul, no Mbessa ult to try and return that trade after the fact, so we'll just be able to reset, should be able to teleport back up, and continue trying to press that advantage. That Trinity Force now fully completed as opposed to a pickaxe for Mbessa, as now we see the teleport actually coming from behind Youngest Lee. Does have that ultimate available. We'll try to use it to get out. Might not be able to do so. Flash still available for both top laners. Enough dashing. It looks like Romy still wants it, but will just get that hyper proc and walk away.
Does stop back, does make it a very awkward timer for Mbessa. As we do see, the Rift Herald has spawned no TP for Youngest Lee either, so that means Mbessa goes back. There's no wave control here, and Gnar not only getting to shove the wave in, but get some damage on that tower and take it down as well. First turret going over to Retirement Home as they're looking at the Rift Herald next.
Yeah, and all their cooldowns available for this fight. The only thing really missing is that Nautilus flash, right? So maybe we see some sort of hero play, hero fight to come through. Actually, Orianna teleporting away, and we'll actually see that there's 3 people running straight towards the bot lane. So a little bit of a dangerous spot here. Trying to trade forward. We see the Soul Shackles come out, not going to connect, but the rest of that dive should be coming through shortly. The wave being cut off in that bottom side. Shockwave comes through, trying to just get the solo kill onto the Morgana. Will be able to do so. Clockwork wind up finding the kill for that passive. Wild Psyduck, though, looking to trade it back. Will use that ult, and it's just going to be all she wrote. Kill traded back, but best you could probably do if you're Orianna there.
Yeah, I think getting the Orianna at least a little bit of kill gold now is that might be a little deep.
Oolong T is going to find the angle onto the Corki, gets the kill, and gets out. The ultimate coming through from the Tristana. Youngest Lee not able to pick up the kill. And the dive going successful in the mid lane. They take the turret as well.
And the ult misses as well. Youngest Lee not having a great game this time around. Also, yeah, no. The Tristana just jumping in there and being like, she said no pickles. Like, I don't want any. Get away from my Nocturne. And letting Oolong T survive at the end of that fight. Beautifully done. And that's Retirement Home starting to pull things back a little bit.
Yeah, the fact Tristana only gets 1 assist in that fight is kind of criminal. Making that fight end up hard winning. I think if Mbessa gets into that back line, that fight goes really, really south, and Mbessa's like, what, 3-2 instead of 0-2? So Very, very big ultimate there, and a flash coming out from Enkidu, not quite able to sidestep that bind, and Romy actually walking straight into a wild Psyduck, gonna get stunned up, jumps away, about to get the access to that ultimate. Oolong T in the backside, Soul Shackle's coming through, only gonna land onto the Nocturne. Zinult comes through as well as Morgana's gonna find the first kill. Shockwave on the 3, Gnarl on the 4, and it's just not enough. The Rel coming back in over the top, and it's a 4 for 0, gonna be 5, potentially. The dive coming through Wild Psyduck, just tanking as much as they can. Corki will fall. It becomes a 5 for 1 RV.
That is a very tough fight for Retirement Home. They hit everything. They just don't have enough damage in the tank. The Tristana is a bit behind. The Orianna has been farming, has been getting a couple kills, but not enough to burst through the power spiking Rel, Xin Ambessa coming in as well in that fight. Just there's a lot of HP to chew through, and this is a very burst-oriented team. The exhaust also coming in clutch once again when that all of that HP gets cut at the crucial, or sorry, all of that damage gets cut at the crucial moments in those fights. You can't do a whole lot for Retirement Home because once those cooldowns are gone, all your damage goes with it.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. That exhaust putting in so much work, so many different times this game already, and we're only 19 minutes in. 3 Drakes for the side of RV. They got 3 grubs. They lost the Herald, sure, but able to consistently just drive the pressure of this game, drive the tempo of this game. And Oolong T on this Nocturne, like you mentioned earlier, needs to find an angle to get something done. Try and basically claw tempo back and make this game Retirement Homes to drive, and just hasn't been able to find that success quite yet.
I think the big thing is that we need to see more skirmishy fights that are sided in favor of Retirement Home, because these team fights, when you got a Rel, you've got so much AoE damage on the side of RV and how ahead they are already. You don't want to take a fair fight. You want to get a numbers advantage for yourself.
Yep.
That's where the Nautilus can come into play and get a really good hook. That's where the Nocturne ult can fly in from an area that you don't know where he is. That's your win con, at least for the current state of the game. If you're not doing that, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Reggie finds a Nocturne, burns the Smite, gets that third auto for the knock-up. The Depth Charge coming through just to get out. That was Kiddu barely staying alive, but doing so fashionably.
That was so clean there. The Depth Charge timed perfectly to stop the Rel W from hitting. If that hits, that's a dead Nautilus.
Yeah. Really, really clean escape there. Might have walked up a little far, but with that Otacon spawned in that bottom side, Retirement Home just not in position to really respond. They're trying to run, but too little too late from the looks of it. And yeah, look, at this point, just giving it up, saying, all right, it's gone, trying to play for something else.
Right now, the Otacon got to go over to RV without any worries. And it's kind of not surprising at this point. I don't think Retirement Home are either able to find or want to try and take a fight over an objective at this point. They just want to scale up a little bit longer. The Orianna also rushing that tier item first means the damage on Ori is very low at the moment. Romy gets over the wall, but still gets CC'd.
Yeah, the Soul Shackle, Dark Binding, and the W coming through from Morgana as well. Reggie will collect that kill, but beautifully played by the mid laner of RV. And one thing to draw attention to, Tessa, you mentioned it feels like RV's the one in the driver's seat, right? They're the ones pushing the game, making the decisions, right? It forcing Retirement Home to respond. The gold still feels really even. 800 is the difference between these two teams. That kill score says something completely different.
Mm-hmm. It is now entirely here up to RV.
Onto Oolong T. Not going to be long for this world. Quick pick onto the jungler of Retirement Home. just playing well around that vision for RV.
Another pick, another power play here for RV. Although they are going to have to clean up their waves a little bit in the mid lane. So they can't get a whole lot from that. But it is more snowballing. It's more frontlining here from this Rel, from the Xin Zhao. Look at the KDs for the front line here of RV. The Xin Zhao, the Rel, they have not died yet.
Yeah, specifically looking at Wild Psyduck, that's insane, because some of these fights have been very close to death. I think of that mid-dive, Rel tanking a turret to, what, for 4 or 5 turret shots at level 9 and living with like 10 HP. Basically saying, protect my KDE, Corki, you've already died once, so you can do it again. Corki ends up falling in that dive, but really, like you mentioned, it's this front line that's just playing these fights so well, making so much space and turning the fight back in their favor the second they get the opportunity to do so.
Another engage here, going to be jumped away as we are looking at a dragon fight possibly coming through. I still don't think this is a fight that Retirement Home would like to be involved in.
Yeah, teleport coming in as well from the Ambessa. Exhaust available for the Rel as well. So while Wild Psyduck looking to use that cooldown if there is any sort of an attempt at probably Reggie, I would think. But jump coming in, ult down onto the Corki, the flash follow as well, and it looks like it's going in their favor. Corki will end up falling, but actually it turns back around. Trist getting exhausted up. Youngest Lee onto the backside, has the black shield, so does not care about that Tristana ult coming through. And once again, a 4-for-1, make it a 5-for-1. RV taking that fight, taking the Dragon Soul, and firmly taking game 1. More than likely. I mean, I guess it's still not Baron spawn, but
it is in their hands.
I don't know how they don't win this at this point.
Yeah, no, and that was a fight that looked great off the start there. It was a little jank, but they got onto the Corki. They killed the Corki. But again, the damage is not there. We have no attack speed yet on the Tristana. Yep. We don't have enough damage. We are building burst damage on this Orianna into some HP stackers that are ahead right now with the Rel and the Xin Zhao. There is not enough damage. And that's, again, before we even go into the exhaust. Once again, exhaust coming out in that fight. They got the Corki. It didn't matter. Xin Zhao has enough HP and enough damage to just run through and not give any kind of care about that damage being thrown back.
Yeah, and I think the big thing to note is that exhaust was used kind of late into the fight too. It was used after a lot of the cooldowns had already been burned. We saw Corki had already fallen before the exhaust came through, and it was burned onto the Tristana, right? So understanding that they don't really have to worry about the dive threat. If Corki dies, there's still enough damage at this point with Ambessa and Xin being this far ahead and just finding their way into that backline and forcing that fight as looks like we might see something happening here. Youngest Lee onto the Tristana, gets that ult down as well, buffers through the Tristana ult, kill in the jungle, kill in the top lane, and a Baron on the cards for RV.
We have broken through. Everything has fallen onto the floor for Retirement Home. They have to consider coming back into work because there is not enough in the tank here to close out this game at the very least. Are seeing Nar get a little bit of split push pressure, but easily matched by the Morgana. And at this point, you're looking at a Nocturne that can't even break an Ambessa shield. You are out of options.
Yeah, outside of some miracle fight, you get maybe that 5-man wombo combo that you could find for this team. Trist Bomb hitting everyone, right? 7k gold lead all of a sudden. I mentioned, 5 minutes ago that it was pretty much dead even as we see the Paranoia come through onto Youngest Lee, and Kiddu trying to be in the area as well, but the teleport coming in now from the Morgana. Depth charge as well. Youngest Lee is not taking damage. Might get feared up again here, but Oolong T has to run away. Maybe that trade comes down. Shockwave landing on the Corki, though. And now we see the Tristana picking that up. Sorry, it's going to go to Omli. And now 2 quick picks. I don't know if it's enough, but it's definitely a ray of light in this side of retirement home.
It is not nothing. It's a little
Yes.
bit extra in the bank, which is sorely, sorely needed. The thing that retirement home are lacking right now is damage. So the fact that they can get a bit more onto this Orianna, they're getting that magic pen, which is huge. The armor pen on the Tristana, so that front line is a little bit less capable of just running straight into the fight and not caring. Still, the fact that was so hard to kill that Ambessa is worrying, and I don't know if this is enough to change the tides, but it is definitely giving an opportunity. If things continue to happen like this, RV might be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Looks like Nar's specking into what I believe is Wit's End. Seems a little interesting to me. I'm not huge on that one near into this much physical, but Nkiru might be trying to get a miraculous escape, not going to be able to do so as the paranoia comes through. Youngest Lee able to just keep dashing away. Somehow Nautilus escaped, so that's pretty cool, as Romy might have just bailed out their support there, and a whole lot of cooldowns for not a whole lot of kills, but Oolong T spotted by that Ambessa ult. The fear coming through once again. Tristana free hitting.
There's no damage.
Burns the Buster charge and is not able to find much. Can't even get Oolong T out, and the base is under siege. Reggie just walking forward with Wild Psyduck, and not much Romy can do. Rel ult burned early, doesn't quite find the cooldown they wanted, as Oolong T still fighting in the backside, will end up falling. Gnarl comes through, Shockwave onto 3, and now it's just not enough. Trist finds the kill on the Morgana. Zenit ult coming through. Youngest Lee is teleported in after all of this.
My
and is
God.
just trying to fountain dive, able to sidestep that boulder toss, gets stunned up, low HP, but finds the kill onto Trist, will end up living, and RV will take game number 1 in chaotic fashion right at the end.
I don't know what happened, but at some point, and I'm guessing it's when the death stance came through, but at some point, Ambessa went from just getting thrown around to being a brick wall. And it was absurd how much that Ambessa was able to do later on into the game to just stay alive, buy time, be a problem that had to be dealt with. And like we said multiple times, the damage just was not there for the front line that was built up by RV. So a beautiful game number 1 for them to take. Now, do they keep the momentum going, especially when we're not going to have any of those champs come back?
Yeah, and I think you mentioned this. The Tristana in particular really needing to accelerate the smart usage of exhaust from Wild Psyduck as well, just to be like, hey, if that Trist doesn't get ahead, our Ambessa doesn't die, right? So I think that is something that you can look at and say, okay, we can't just play something super aggressive going forward into game 2, because they'll just they know that you just pick exhaust into it, and then all of a sudden shuts down the lane. If you don't get that advantage in lane, all of a sudden the game gets much, much harder for something like that Tristana to come through. So maybe we see more of a scaling trend coming through in future games. But yeah, very chaotic game number 1 in the books between RV and Retirement Home. Game 2 should be just as fun. We'll be back with that one right after a short break. Welcome back, everybody. Game 2 between RV and Retirement Home. RV playing it a little slow early on, but decisively taking game number 1 of this best of 5. We saw 6 jungle bans in the first phase, a 7th jungler locked in that first pick. Tessa, are we seeing much the same here in game number 2?
So far, yeah, we're seeing the Vi, the Rengar. I expect it's possible they could go just run back the same bans. I mean, RV is probably not going to want to change anything, which means, yeah, I guess not, because like if RV doesn't want to change the bans, Retirement Home. Okay, so we are going to get a slight shift here. The LeBlanc is taken out. That means the Jarvan is left open. Now, does Retirement Home want to ban the Jarvan, which does mean that Wukong is left open, or do they leave both open so that they can trade these picks is the question.
Oh, and I almost wonder if part of the concern was just that Jarvan-Orianna combo, with Jarvan not having the Orianna to pair with.
Nope, they want the Jarvan.
Yeah, it was worth a shot.
And this is why Retirement Home honestly could have left the Wukong up, because then you at least have the Wukong in terms of like a meta viable type of jungler to get picked up here that fits in a lot of different compositions. Now you're having to kind of scrounge up a little bit once again, like they did. Now the Nocturne was like a pretty easy pickup with the Orianna, but it didn't work out. Now we're going to see what do they want to run. Poppy is picked. This can be top lane. This can be jungle. Has some flexibility here, which I think is a good thing as Retirement Hope continue through this draft.
Yeah, and maybe I'm still crazy, but Poppy support, always a blast. So definitely can be flexed between all 3 of those roles. I think it's been most commonly seen in jungle and support as of late, but definitely functions top lane perfectly fine. Interested to see what they're going to pair with it, though, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the pregame. Ryze, very, very comfortable pick, and Mel is the answer is a little interesting to me.
It is interesting. Granted, Mel is just damn good right now.
Yeah.
Mel's just a good champion to pick. Kind of one of the best mid laners that you have available, regardless of what the composition is trying to do. Also Jarvan ult with the Mel, allowing you to just throw down the Q pretty easily and not miss it. That's a lot of stacks the Mel is getting on to somebody. Varus picked up as well, so has a little bit of flexibility. Do we want to go poke Varus? Do we want to go for the on hit? I think as of right now, you're probably looking at probably closer to on hit than anything, but we'll see how it shifts around. Misfortune was the hover. Sivir also being considered, but it is the misfortune at the end of the day. And now we got to figure out some team fight CC setup.
Yeah, and I'm not huge on misfortune into Mel specifically.
Yeah,
that sounds not great. So I do think probably would have been worth to look at that Sivir. I think it would have worked out a little better there, but with that Braum off the table, one of the Windwalling-esque tools not available. Interested to see what they will pair with it. Like you mentioned, they kind of need some sort of CC or team fight setup. Leona taken off the table. Nautilus not available. Rel not available. Thank you, Fearless. I guess you can look towards something like the Alistar?
Alistar is probably one of your better picks here, but it's not the most ideal. Like you said, the Rel would be great, but it's not available thanks to Fearless. Just kind of continuing to look here, like, yeah, that's like the best you're really gonna get is the Alistar. I think honestly, the Leona ban is a very good ban.
Potentially Rakan, I could see. I think Rakan would be okay here, but it does feel like you need some sort of team fight here. And of note, the Ornn available. I don't think you want to pick Ornn into Mel. Just going to go on a limb and say that much. Thresh looks to be the hover. Could be another just comfort pick coming out for Retirement Home. Rakan, like you were talking about, makes sense. I think this is probably the right answer, and it will be locked in.
Yeah. Picked up. It is not reflectable. Rakan, most of Rakan's kit. Very solid to just dive in, get the charm onto a bunch of people so that then the Misfortune ult can do a lot more work. Like you said, the Ornn would get the ult reflected. You don't want that. Now, though, RV are in a position of they need to get a support and they need to get a top laner, Nico, getting picked up here, which will go into the support position. Nico support has been popping up a lot more because there is a lot of funny Nico tech that you can do on top of just having solid poke capabilities in the bot lane.
All right, you say funny tech. It's only funny for the Nico. Playing against a Nico that turns into a cannon minion and eats 7 turret shots at level 3 is not funny.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, there is funny to be had. I didn't say that everyone thought it was funny. I just said it was funny, all right? So
I'm just traumatized.
Yeah, I understand. That usually happens when we cast together. Ornn picked up, however, and that will be the final pick for RV, giving them that front line. I think giving also the possibility for Varus to really pick what style he wants to go here, as Camille is the lock-in in response. This is a lane matchup that needs to go well for Retirement Home.
Yeah, interesting to see. We talked about potentially Ornn being slotted for Retirement Home if it wasn't for that Mel. RV just going to take it for themselves, and I feel like the last few times I've seen Camille, I've not been that impressed. Maybe Retirement Home can prove me wrong here. I mean, Romy did have a really good game on Gnar last game. Like, it should not be understated. That was the highlight of this Retirement Home team in game number 1. The Gnar coming out of lane 2-0 was the bright spot, right? So maybe just slamming and carry, saying, all right, I'm going to just sit in the side lane, be a menace, make it so nobody can match me. Maybe that seems to be what Retirement Home thinks is going to win them this second game.
Possibly, we'll see. I think also one thing I want to point out, because this is some funny Nico tech. I don't know if this is going to be relevant in any way, shape, or Camille hook only hits champions, correct? The Camille hook shot.
Yes.
You can turn into a minion and dodge it. That is a possibility.
We might have to test this one during the screens.
No, that's how that works. That's like
chaos.
Yes. All of that, you can dodge non-champion, like you can dodge abilities that only hit champions by turning into a minion on Nico, because you are by game design a minion. That includes your damage that is done as well. I've seen a clip on Twitter where you don't trigger Yasuo passive if you turn into a minion after throwing out your abilities.
Yeah, Nico was a mistake. Okay, so we're going into the client draft here for game number 2. Yeah, I mean, RV once again drafting a kind of standard team fight comp from the looks of things, and I think Retirement Home trying to kind of match that team fight, but it seems a lot more single target focused with things like the Camille, like the Rise. So interested to see how this is going to pan out for him. They have avenues to play the game. It just seems a little difficult to get off the ground.
Definitely. It's going to be... You got to work up to it. And meanwhile, you look at RV, they've got just a solid composition. It is just Jarvan engage, Ornn engage without much to stop it from happening. Varus and Mel is your backline threats. Nico to do whatever Nico really wants to do, all things considered. Like, this is very solid just type of composition here. Retirement Home have a lot that needs to go right in order for their game plan to function, and there's a lot of breaking points that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think the ease of execution definitely seems to be RV favored. You hear an Ornn horn and you know that's a go button, right? Like there's no question you're fighting when Ornn ult is popped. Same thing for the Jarvan ult. The ability to play from range for Mel and Varus this game, I do think it's probably going to end up being that lethality Varus, just so you can play at that same range as Mel and just be poke menaces. You can just poke out the enemy team before starting a fight, get them low enough, and then all of a sudden half HP Misfortune gets jumped on by Jarvan and is just gonna die, right? So we'll see. Of course, could opt into that more, I think you mentioned, on hit, like team fight style build. but seems a lot riskier to me than just saying, all right, play this heavy poke comp and just try to be a nuisance and try to play through that early to mid game.
Yeah, because if we do get poke Varus, you now see the late game falls off pretty darn hard.
Yeah.
Especially as you're looking at a Rise that's going to get pretty tanky. The Poppy is going to get pretty beefy. Camille is no slouch and that kind of stuff as well. With just poke and the Mel, it's not going to be enough to chew through those champions. You probably ideally would like to have the Varus. It's just a little bit more. You got to pay attention for sure.
Yeah, but we will have to see. Is game number 2 going to be a similar feel to that first game, or a little bit more fight coming out from Retirement Home in that mid to late game? We'll have to see. We're going to take a short break. Game number 2 right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Game 2 between RV and Retirement Home. RV taking game number 1, rather, in pretty decisive fashion after that 20 to 25 minute mark. And I don't know, they seem to just have the stronger team fight team. They won a lot through their early skirmishes, their early team fighting, and it looks like that's how they want to play this game number 2.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Also, just going again as a reminder through that draft there, we saw that the jungle bans stayed consistent for Retirement Home. Meanwhile, RV left open the Jarvan so that they could pick it themselves and get a solid jungle pickup here. Now, Poppy can block that Jarvan engage here, but it is not exactly like the greatest. Now, as we do look at our picks here, the Varus, the one that we were looking at, did go for the Arcane Comet, so it is going to be that poke Varus instead of on hit, which means the later this game goes, the rougher it might get.
Yeah, it's tough because his damage output with lethality is still strong in the later stage. It's just a different play style, right? Like, you're not going to be sitting there DPSing through the Poppy. You're just going to be trying to play around those Qs, trying to hit those long range abilities and win the fight before the fight starts, basically, is how you end up having to play these poke battles. So lots of trading happening up here in the top side, though. Romy, again, getting the better of Youngest Lee. And one thing to note that I don't think we touched on during the draft, Camille being able to hook shot off of Ornn Pillar is very funny.
That is very funny, actually. I didn't think about that.
If he just puts that pillar up, then she can hook shot off of it as an escape, as an entry, so that has to be a lot smarter about where that pillar is placed than you would otherwise have to be in most Ornn games, I would say.
Most of the time, it's just a threat. Now it is a threat on both ends here.
Yeah.
gonna see here also the amount of trading they're ready to do up on that top side. The Ornn is going to be difficult, at least to play in this top side, because Camille is just so good at trading against these tanks, even ones that have as much damage as Ornn to trade back here.
Yeah, and actually we saw Youngest Lee take an early reset, teleport back up. Does have the passive, so oh my gosh, the hook shot actually getting canceled there. Romy might end up going down here, able to just get that last precision protocol and walk away. But Shrimp almost falling in the bot side, and Kiddu also going to be going low. Misfortune going forward, and the Varus Q comes through, and Kiddu's going to fall on the far side. Reggie trying to scoop that one up, able to flash, get that. Varus getting the kill on the Misfortune as well. So 2 kills in that over-aggressive play from Retirement Home. And RV once again with that early lead.
That's about a worst case scenario in the bot side there. The Jarvan showing up at predictable timing as well there. That could have been prepared for better. Unfortunately, the engage there is good. We're seeing the Misfortune just flash forward, which was desperation already being felt, and that is not ideal for the state that Retirement Home are in. You're in game 2. You cannot feel the desperation already, because that is going to be what puts you in a 0-2 situation.
Yeah, always a concern seeing a desperation come through early into a series. It's early in game 2, right? It's not like that play is making or breaking the game. As the flash being forced out of Minazuki, Oolong T gonna have to flash as well. Reggie gonna get that flag and drag in. Poppy just keep trying to runs back in. Wild Psyduck is also here, and it looks like it's just the free kill going over. Oolong T not able to turn that back. Flash for flash trade up in the top side. Youngest Lee barely able to stay alive.
Does stay alive nonetheless here. It is healing up a lot off of that. We'll be able to get back up into the lane, and in comes Jarvan for a possible gank.
Yeah, Reggie with the flag and drag does not land. Doesn't have the flash this time around. Oh, beautiful play coming out from Romy. Getting the heal on the exit as well, so able to escape from that one with their life.
Really smooth exit, and that is why Camille is such a hard champion to gank, even for somebody like Jarvan that has really good gank potential. It's just not the easiest thing to find with somebody that slippery. Now, granted, probably not looking to come up into that top side very often, because Ornn is meant to just exist and show up for team fights in this composition. You are not trying to get a winning lane out of that, especially when you already have winning lanes in every single other lane curve.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn, kind of the world's largest neutralizer, it feels like, in the top side. So with Mel already off the ground, with Varus already off the ground, very difficult game for, I think, Retirement Home to try and punish the top side of the map. You can't quite kill that Ornn as easily as something like the Mbessa early on.
Dragon started up here by Reggae. A little bit of extra damage here onto Enkidu, which is going to give all of that lane pressure over to RV as they walk up to make sure that Dragon does get picked up. Oolong T not able to do much on the other side other than take a tiny little scuttle crab victory.
Yeah, not much to be done across the map at this point, like you mentioned. Already falling behind in those early skirmishes, so Rise kind of needs to get a few items under their belt to come online in this game, start pumping out damage. On the flip side, I mean, your Misfortune's still level 5, can't really team fight too easily. Camille's strong, but there's nothing really to play for around that top half, so will just be a slower game coming out for the side of RV. Rizel coming through. The wallbang gonna land. Oolong T finding that, gets the ult down as well. Youngest Lee should just fall.
Beautiful.
Only
catch.
Picking that one up.
Beautiful catch, by the way, though. They saw the Ornn there. The Rise TP to show up and the stun, making sure Ornn had nowhere to go Easy pickup. Does go to the Rise as well, which is probably the person you would like it on most out of those three, because this Rise, the sooner he can get going, the sooner damage he can output, the less ready that Ornn will be for the front line he has to be.
Yeah. A little unfortunate that no KP going over to the side of Romy, as now we see the Call of the Forge God coming in the mid lane, flash away from the Rise, the ult coming through from the Mel as well. Youngest Lee trying to get the pillar, will not find it. Only able to walk away just barely with their life.
Yeah, we're limping away. We're not walking. It's sketchy out here, and that is a huge survival there for Only. Will back TP back into the lane as our bot lanes have swapped up to the top lane.
Yeah. It seems like it was a byproduct of the potential grubs. Is the Chains of Corruption going to land onto Enkidu, but not really going to have much more come of that. Good trade there. Ooh. Youngest Lee getting jumped on by that Camille ultimate. Romy not quite able to find the kill, still fighting in the wave, so Youngest Lee will just be able to walk away.
The wave getting stopped there as well was a massive difference maker there. It meant that Youngest Lee could back under the tower and stay safe. Camille couldn't posture for a possible little bit of poke.
Yeah. Able to just kind of soak the damage, play it slow. Enkidu just trying to get out. Flash for flash. Shrimp goes forward. Heal going to be popped as well. Oh, the Nico ult comes through. The flash forward from the Misfortune. And another death for the AD carry for Retirement Home. 2-0-1 now for Shrimp on the Varus.
That is... I mean, like, worst case scenario already occurred. We're like, we're 2 layers deep here. Speaking of, Youngest Lee needing to flash over the wall and will survive. However, it is more lost here because you look at that farm difference in the top side and it's starting to grow.
Yeah, and this is what you were saying, making Camille this lane-dominant champion and just trying to say we're playing through our top laner this time around. And so far, it's looking good specifically for Romy, but across the rest of the map, I mean, like we highlighted, Misfortune Rakan just not quite able to play in that 2v2 and getting pretty heavily punished for some of these fights.
Some of these fights have been really tough. Also, just the summoner spell usage has obviously been an issue. Only in trouble in the top.
Only Call the Forge God lands. Mel in the area as well. Ult gonna come down. The passive getting that execute. Minazuki finding their second kill of the game.
Rise getting taken down right now is really tough because gold-wise, Rise did not have enough to finish that Roa yet. There was a little bit of greed in trying to get those minions in order to try and get closer and closer to finishing that Rod of Ages, because the sooner that gets done, the sooner you can hit the max power spike from that.
Yeah, and that's really the first point where we'll see this Rise do anything. That one kill in the top side does feel really good for sure, but not quite able to pump out damage like you would want your Rise to do. Oolong T going for the dive, missing the Q. A little eager, but doesn't seem to be likely to get punished, although Reggie's in the area. No steadfast presence. Ult coming through as well. Rise ult coming in over the top. Minazuki, no ult available for them on the Mel. Will just be the trade of ultimates, but Jarvan ult, much shorter cooldown. I think RV is okay with that.
RV's fine with that, especially too, because that means... Remember how a lot of Rise players will use it to shift the wave forward to get pressure and momentum to just change the tempo of the lane. That's now not an option thanks to needing to move up towards that top side to get the Poppy out of a sticky situation. We have bot lane in the mid lane right now for the side of Retirement Home. RV, on the other hand, continuing to keep their solo laners in those mid and top lanes.
Yeah, and plates going into the pocket of the Varus, of the Nico at this point. So just a lot of gold in the favor of this bottom half for the side of RV. It's being traded, only getting some plate coverage in that top side, really wanting to get that last plate, but might just get punished for it as Minazuki trying to get something here. The ult comes through, only trying to get out, but no flash, nowhere to run. Execute comes through once more, but Oolong T is here this time. We see Call
Too
of the Forge
early.
got the steadfast presence coming out too early. Poppy ult coming over the top. Minazuki in the area trying to play this fight slowly, trying to play it on the edge. The flash coming through, but will end up falling. Rakan gonna get the shutdown, unfortunately, as the reflect was used on the make it rain, nothing else. Misfortune had the ult, could have secured that kill, but ultimately kill going over to Rakan, 1-for-1 in that topside engage.
Again, Panic just kind of hitting there because the Rakan going in, taking the kill is huge. That was a big shutdown. Meanwhile, seems like Misfortune stayed a little too long.
Yeah, Exhaust having to come through onto Youngest Lee. Ult coming through now. Misfortune will be able to pick up that kill, so get something back. But in the meantime, Shrimp finding the kill onto the Camille on the bot side, able to go 1-for-1 across the map and take that turret.
We also have Jarvan showing up at the top side, so action may not be done. We're getting your reps in today, Brennan.
Yeah, apparently. Ult coming down onto the 2. Misfortune, 100 HP, will end up falling. And Q probably soon to follow, unless there is another grand exit coming up. It was not the case. The Varus ends up falling, going 1-for-1 in that mid-fight. Teleport coming in from Youngest Lee as well, only trying to just run away. Will be able to do so, but again, RV, the team coming out on top.
It's just every time there's a win somewhere, it's a loss somewhere else, or a loss as the play continues over time. So you're either getting this kind of fight where, yeah, okay, we got to kill. We lost 2 people after. Not worth it. We got to kill. It's on the Rakan. Not where we want it. We try to go for something and we can't even get the kill, and we lose people like that fight around Dragon. There's so many things that are just starting to fall apart once again. And it again just kind of goes back to like I feel like Retirement Home are a little rattled after how game 1 went.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like they're playing a lot more. I think desperate is the right word for it. Just a lot of rushed plays, right? It seems like not a whole lot of setup, mostly just saying, all right, we see this thing happening, let's just respond to it, as opposed to let's make this play happen, right? It seems a lot more in the moment.
Definitely. Also, just looking at objective control here. 2 dragons, Rift Herald, Grubs, everything going over to RV. The only thing that has been...
Youngest Lee is probably just dead. Flash gonna have to be burned, actually, but yeah, interesting sequence of events there. Yeah, Flash burn for fun.
I think Youngest Lee has been the weakest point there. Nice teleport out. Beautifully done.
Really good escape with that Realm Warp. Rift Herald gonna be summoned in the top side. Looks like they might try to charge onto the tier 3. Misfortune taking the tier 1 mid lane in response, but I think RV is more than okay opening the base here at 16 minutes.
Wait, Rift Herald has a little reindeer nose.
Yes.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Bot side?
Yeah, just a dive coming through and a dead Mel. These teams just really like fighting, is what I'm learning. This was the wrong call to choose to play-by-play today, but...
Well, you've made your choice. You will now die with it.
Yeah, apparently I will.
Okay,
Well, Oolong T is going to probably end up falling, trying to take the turret as well. In the meantime, we'll get the turret. No steadfast presence. Not really going to burn anything. Just healed for like a quarter of their health off of 1 Sundered Sky proc, so that was pretty sick. But yeah, interesting sequence of events. They do get the turret, so it is a little bit of gold back. And all things considered, again, they're down 8 kills and only down 3k gold.
Yeah,
so it could be worse.
But we have seen, even in the last game, gold difference was not the problem.
Yeah.
The problem was compositional build. The problem was the power spikes and when they came up. It does not matter if the gold is close to even if we're still waiting for Rise to come online. If the Misfortune is struggling to get in a good place for these ultimates. There were similar problems in game number 1, and the domination still felt as palpable, despite the fact that the gold value was not that different.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. I think a lot of this falls onto how Romy plays these later fights. Is just going to get engaged on. Dodges out on the flag and drag, but Call the Forge God coming in. Romy just going to get knocked up by that one. Going to be taken low. Will be taken down, but only is here. Reggie very low. Youngest Lee trying to also escape. Flash ult coming through from the Rakan. Gets the kill there too. So unfortunate as the Pop Blossom comes through. And now we see only going to end up falling. Shrimp picking up that kill from over the wall. Oolong T just trying to get their support out alive. Dives onto Shrimp, actually. Wild Psyduck also going to be taken low, knocked up by the Grand Entrance. Bullet Time coming out over the top. Wild Psyduck stuck in an awkward spot, but finds the kill onto Enkidu. Youngest Lee trying to get out as well. Oolong T will find the kill onto the Nico. Misfortune and Shrimp trying to take the trade, but taking the Q, takes the death as well. Shrimp finding the kill. Monstrous performance on the Varus in game 2.
Meanwhile, Mel on the top side is just pushing waves. Another tower gone. Another tower to fall as well. As RV once again looking at TP. They just, every single time there has been some kind of fight to scrap back and rise TP.
Coming in, Youngest Lee. He has to flash over. Might be able to find it. The barrier going to be popped. It's not going to be enough. Only finding the kill there. Youngest Lee trying to eat the honey for delay the inevitable, but a double kill now for Only's rise.
What a play by Only. Not just TPing in, but getting the Realm Warp into that fight and flashing out of the knockup, realizing the situation that Only was in. Very heads-up play and huge to get some more gold into the Rise's pocket. We have the tier done. The Roa is continuing to finish, but Rise needs to start going on that third item to really get going in this game.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what it will be. I've seen a few different thought processes. I'm a firm Horizon Focus believer that item should not have 125 AP. That is insane. But or maybe it's 115. Either way, it's a ridiculous amount of AP on a single item. There's some people that subscribe to using Cosmic Drive, so interested to see what we will end up seeing as the third item here. And really, it is just on Only. I think this Rise has been the highlight of game number 2 here. Game 1, it was Romy on the Gnar. Game 2, different solo laner stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, but they both need to be on home plate at the same time is the problem.
Yeah.
Because getting one person there, not really the most efficient way here. You'd love to have a game where both your top and mid are able to put out and actually fight things. Because, yeah,
Flash
Misfortune,
available.
Not looking good.
Yeah, didn't quite get jumped on. Reggie not feeling comfortable enough to go in on that one, but ultimately, Flash still available for the Misfortune, so probably would have been a rough fight as Romy once again looking to engage. Flag and Drag coming down onto the Camille. Ult being popped here, but it might just not be enough.
Ooh.
That was an interaction, but ultimately, Romy does end up falling, burns the Flash, burns the ult. Call the Forge God and Cataclysm both use, so maybe there's a window they can look to fight afterward for retirement home, but it's still looking pretty dire.
I want to talk about, too, just that early Camille we saw looked so threatening. And Youngest Lee was struggling pretty hard, especially with the jungle pressure. Now we're looking at the other side of this game, and, well, we'll get back to that in a sec.
Yeah, Misfortune. Oh, the double flag and drag, the Nico route, the Mel route afterward, and Kidu trying to just run away. Meanwhile, Ornn's been hitting the Otacon, and Kidu runs straight into the Ornn, is able to get out. Oolong T in the area might be looking to do something, but just going to be taken so low. Mel ult going to be popped, not going to find the kill, but Otacon going over to RV here, and Oolong T not long for this world. Steadfast Presence trying to get out, going to run face first into Reggie's Jarvan, flashing over the wall, trying to get the execute, will not be able to do so. Blackfire Torch, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man, the things that are going wrong here for retirement home. But yeah, like I wanted to point out the Camille 0-5 right now, despite how strong that early trading looked, obviously has had some issues as the game has gone further on. The only bright spot that has existed in this game has been Only, who is outputting at least a little bit of relevance, but it is nothing compared to what we're seeing from RV.
Yeah, and Camille teleporting up to the top wave with Rise. It seems like they're just trying to trade Ocean Soul for the top tier 2.
I am not an
sure about
expert.
that.
However, I don't think that trade is financially stable.
Yeah, not ideal. Shrimp gonna land the Chains of Corruption. Gets knocked up, though. Bullet time over the top is not gonna be enough damage. Reggie just getting tickled by that one, actually, is Wild Psyduck just healing through Cataclysm onto 3, forcing the flash out of the Misfortune. And the Varus Q from downtown ends up landing only in the back line. 1v4, not gonna be quite enough. Minazuki in the area, able to pick that one up. 2 quick kills for the side of RV. They should just be able to knock this one down.
I'm feeling a sense of deja vu here. A Soul going over to RV. They take a major fight after for another win and crack open the base. They're looking to move in here. I don't think they'll be able to do a whole lot to the base beyond this, but it does matter in terms of who is going in.
Oh, Varus Q gonna land as well. Oolong T taken extremely low. No melee available, but Wild Psyduck will be able to pick up that kill with the Hextech Rocket Belt. Misfortune just getting flashed on. Flag and drag afterward. Flash forward from Shrimp. That's gonna be all she wrote. RV takes game number 2. Championship point in a decisive second game.
Immediately as well. Just I would say both games in a sense were very definitive. There was not really much question on who was controlling the game. And again, like we talked about the gold difference. Both times when we've reached that point where it's like, oh, this seems like really far ahead, and you look up, they're just a couple thousand gold ahead. It's just coming from the understanding of the power spikes of these champions, as well as just the capability to work together as a team that we're not seeing as much from Retirement Home.
Yeah, and I think Retirement Home is played well in the early stages, where even when they're taking these losing fights, even when it seems like RV is, driving the pace of the match, you see a Retirement Home still even in gold, like you were mentioning. They're still generating something on the other side. If it's turret plates, if it's just taking enemy jungle, if it's just taking a farm lead, like their early games have been solid, and it seems like specifically in the second game, a little over eagerness where you're flashing forward, trying to go 1-for-1, not necessarily respecting the early pressure that the Jarvan could put out, and ultimately those kind of early mistakes just kept snowballing. Right? It was hard to really find an avenue back in, even when you had good angles, and Kiddu finding some pretty good reconnaissance and like starting good fights, but also picking up 2 kills worth of shutdowns was unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, it was like we said, every positive moment in that game for Retirement Home had like a but afterwards. Like it was like, we got the kill, but the shutdown went to Recon. We got the kill, but we lost 2 people on the other side of the map. We got the tier 2 tower, but we lost Dragon Soul. It's just consistently throughout that game, it was just kind of like poor trades, and I need Retirement Home to lock in the stock market. We gotta look at our retirement funds, because we gotta invest a little bit smarter here. Not coming up really well here for Retirement Home so far.
This feels like a shoutouts to Finnick moment, so I'm gonna just leave it at that. But yeah, very, very strong showing once more from RV. Retirement Home backs against the wall now. Got to win 3 games in a row to have it to win the title at this point. One more loss and it's over. So we'll see if they're able to start that road to recovery. Game number 3 coming up after this. Welcome back. Game number 3 between RV and Retirement Home. RV winning games 1 and 2 pretty decisively, I'd say. MXL joined by 1,000 Eyes once again, and we're already into the draft for this third game. More and more jungle bans, and a Malphite ban is out there.
I was not ready for the Malphite ban. The Malphite ban is catching me off guard. But that does now mean that we do have the Vi available for the first time, and I would expect, based on what we've seen in the past, okay. You know what? I don't know anything anymore. RB are just gonna take the Ashe. Vi is left open. Retirement Home can take it if they want.
Yeah, an interesting pick. Generally a lower damage AD carry than what I think we've been seeing. The Varus, kind of a nightmare to deal with in terms of that damage department. So, yeah, Corki and Varus for the first 2 games. So Ashe, another kind of long range AD, but like doesn't quite have the same heights, I would say, as those other 2. And it looks like the answer might just be the Xayah. So no Rakan to pair it with. A little interesting to see this champion come through this early.
I mean, it is very solid at just Ashe ult. Xayah, you can trade those ultimates and don't feel too bad about it. That's what Xayah kind of exists for. But you know, you're now just kind of saying like, okay, pick more engage. Try to get onto this Xayah if you want. That's fine by us, because that's what the champion is very good at. Sylas getting picked up too. Also not terrible. Has the dashes to get in onto the Ashe. Has the ability to steal the Ashe ult, which does have a very high AP ratio. As a reminder for people who don't keep track of that. Taliyah getting picked up. Sylas doesn't mind taking that ult. It's kind of just a trade of, you want to roam? I'm going to go with you.
Yeah, very similar to almost like the Twisted Fate matchup for Sylas, where it's like you just take the ult to also show up in the side lane, right?
Yep.
So, interesting pickups for sure. I actually would have liked to see the Sylas be a Braum, I think, instead. Just deny that pairing away from RV. It doesn't look like they ended up opting into it regardless, but Sion Aatrox looks to be the trade of top laners. And if there is something to take note of, it does seem like Romy has had the better time in those early lanes in both those first 2 games in the top side. So playing something lane dominant once more, trying to generate an advantage. And on Aatrox, you get 1 kill in a fight and you can wipe the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be very, very difficult here, as we are what the next bans are. Braum is getting banned. Seraphine as well. I think these are both really smart bans by Retirement Home. They're taking away the Ashe, the things that pair really, really well with the Ashe, especially that Seraphine. So Melio, Vi now taken off the board for Retirement Home. So not gonna get that Melio. Lilia, it's like they know you. It's like they know everything about you at this point. I'm expecting they're going to spell out Brennan's social security number with the bans next time around. Yeah.
How you spell out a number using only letters is beyond me.
The number that the champion is in terms of release.
Anyway, Kindred gonna be the answer into that. Another kind of interesting pickup. I'm always excited to see Kindred. I think this champion is stronger than people realize, but can struggle a bit in those early skirmishes, and Lilia can just kind of run away for free. So interested to see. And Leona available will be locked in, and it looks like the answer might just be the Thresh. Does make sense. Very kind of even matchup, but Thresh can just deny a lot of that in potential that Leona has.
And that seems to be the story of the game for Retirement Home is like, we are picking to neutralize what RV want to do. You have the Sylas that can just copy. Okay, well, you got a Kindred ult, we got a Kindred. You got a Taliyah ult to roam, we've got a Taliyah ult to roam. You have Ashe Arrow. Xayah can dodge all of that. Xayah is actually retroactively a really good pick into this. Yeah, because you got Leona, Ashe, even the Sion ult as well that you can dodge with the Xayah, and you've got Thresh Lantern on top of that to get out of sticky situations. So very solid stuff, I think, from Retirement Home. I think some of it was RV kind of giving them a little bit, but Retirement Home do have something pretty solid built for themselves this match.
I do have a concern though, where it looks like there's not really a whole lot of threat onto the Sion. I think he will just kind of scale in and be a menace, right? There's Silas, not known for being a tank shredder. Lilia kind of can, but I feel like a lot of her builds lately have still been on the tankier side herself, so not quite specking into a lot more damage. Xayah can, if she's allowed to hit a Scion for 15 seconds, potentially get through his health bar. So I worry a bit about their damage profile in that mid to late game, but early on for sure, it seems like they have some sort of semblance of cohesion with what it is their team is looking to do, which feels a lot different to me from game number 2.
It definitely does. And we were talking about the Kindred as well for RV and how Kindred is a pretty strong champion. The problem always comes up of how do you fit it in a composition.
Yeah.
And I think RV have done a pretty decent job with that this time around. The Leona and the Scion are such good frontline that you're not too worried about having another backliner on this team in terms of team fighting. The other thing to kind of keep in mind here too is that the Kindred ult is good, but it's not doing anything incredible in this game like it can in some other matches here. The best you're getting is dodging out on Xayah feathers from getting a kill, or maybe letting Aatrox ult timeout. That's kind of your, I guess, like Lilia sleep too, but that's usually an engage tool rather than a finishing tool. So
yeah,
the Kindred ult, like, it's not like you have a Pike or you're canceling resets to the same degree that you would against some other champions.
Mm-hmm.
But Kindred is still solid. We'll have to kind of keep our eyes open on, like you said, the Lilia build, because that could be really impactful on getting these tanks down, or just how the Kindred is going to play and get those stacks, because that is kind of the make or break for Kindred.
Yeah, and of note, Silas can also steal the Kindred ult. So what you just said still can apply the other way, right? Yep. If you see this fight breaking out and maybe it's, all right, we need to wait on a cooldown for a little bit, like we're missing Aatrox, or this fight goes better if our Aatrox can live to get another passive proc off, like something along those lines. There are avenues where Kindred ult, very impactful. Scion ult, very impactful. Ashe ult, very impactful. Leona ult, it just becomes a like point and click tactical nuke for Silas. So very, very strong ultimates available for the mid laner for Retirement Home. And it'll be interesting to see how they choose to use it. Sometimes when you are the Silas in these situations where almost everything has a use case, it's hard to pick the right one for the case you're going into. So definitely keep an eye on that ultimate from the Silas. And I think this is a comp that I think Retirement Home can start to look to fight early, and that's been where it's been lacking for the first 2 games of the series.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more that is being actually put together here by Retirement Home, and I do want to see that come to fruition, because I think we have not seen what I feel to be a put together composition from them yet, and that now we're starting to see, okay, like the big issue has felt like, oh, we don't have damage, or we don't have X or Y, or something like that in both of the games that we've played so far. This time, there's answers to a lot of things. There's a lot of possibilities here, I think, for Retirement Home to make things work. The problem now is you don't have more mistakes to make. You're on your final loss here. Another loss is going to give the championship over to RV.
Yeah. Backs against the wall here for Retirement Home. RV looking to close it out in a 3-0 sweep. We'll have to see the outcome. Game number 3 coming up after a short break. Welcome back, everybody. Game 3 between RV and Retirement Home, and a role swap coming in for the side of Retirement Home. Oolong T moving to AD carry and sicko mode into the jungle on the Lilia this time around. So some shaking it up a little bit in this third and potentially final game of the CEA finals here in fall 2025. MXL joined by Thousand Eyes once more, and we like this draft. This one makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. I think really it's just okay, we've got a better draft. Now we need the execution. And like we said before the break, you just don't have many chances to mess up anymore if the execution fails. And this is a composition that does require some execution. You have the Thresh that does need to be played well. You have the Aatrox, which is not a easily piloted champ compared to something like the Scion. You're seeing a little bit more execution burden at the cost of a better comp, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've seen it though in the first two games as the trade happening mid lane there. Feathers come through actually onto the Leona. Wild Psyduck going to be taken low, flashing away. Just a good level 2 timer playing around that. Some confidence coming in from this bottom lane for the side of Retirement Home. Wild Psyduck still kind of in no man's land though. Gonna land that Zenith Blade, the Shield of Daybreak as well. The flash, the hook goes wide. Oolong T trying to find the kill. Will find it on the Wild Psyduck. Cleanse coming through, but Shrimp and the Oolong T just going 1-for-1, killing the other supports.
That's even at the end of the day, and that is honestly not ideal because we did have such an early lead there, and the cleanse burned by the Xayah as well. So a little bit more resources used in what should have been a winning situation is now only in a little trouble as well.
Yeah, not sure you wanted to actually land that E2 there only, but does end up taking the trade regardless. Can't find the Kingslayer, gets the flash out. Flash for flash trade, finds the solo kill. Leona roaming up as well. Youngest Lee trying to take a fight. Oh, Aatrox being taken extremely low. Romy flash for flash up in that top side, and Youngest Lee has the shield ready from that Soul Furnace, just threatening to potentially kill Romy if they dare walk up too far. And again, 2 early kills. This is something we have yet to really see coming out for the side of Retirement Home.
Oh, 3.
That's a solo kill in the top lane.
Should be traded back. Yeah, will get traded back. And that's actually a little rougher too, because that wave is going to crash into the tower, forcing the TP from Romy. Yeah,
ultimately, lots of trading happening across the map, but for the first time, the feats of strength warfare, I forget which one. One of them's the whole overarching name, and the other one's the kills one.
Feat of warfare.
3 kills going over to Retirement Home.
I think feats of strength is the whole thing. Feat of warfare specifically is killing people.
They're the same thing in my head.
Oh, just you can be smart in warfare. You don't have to be strong.
Yeah, fair enough, I suppose. Oolong T though, just getting run at by a Wild Psyduck. Dark Passage to get out. Another W landing on to Youngest Lee, just taking a bit of a one-sided trade rather, and seems to be slowing down again for a little bit. We'll see if this continues, but expecting a bit faster-paced game than I think the first 2 were.
I think the big thing is we're seeing a lot less fear here, at least so far, as we're getting some engaged
coming out. Shrimp getting ignited, trying to just auto trade down Oolong T, but both AD carries at about 100 HP. Wild Psyduck though really wants to make a play happen, has access to that Hex Flash as well, so could look to make a cheeky play out of the bush. Shrimp also with the range on the volley could make something happen. Reggie though finding sicko mode. Lilia just gonna flash over the wall, but Aatrox now is the target. Romy not going to get slowed up there. No E available for Reggie. Does get that dance of arrows forward, trying to just walk away. Romy will be able to get out. So good pressure again coming in from Reggie and able to get the flash out from the enemy jungler.
really big to get that as well. And as the Lilia without flash, especially as we're getting close to that level 6 mark, becomes important.
Pain Train coming through. Youngest Lee just kind of dies. And then Reggie's here trying to get the dive after the fact. Still level 4 on this Kindred, though. Gets that third proc on the E, and it's a double kill for Romy. 3-in-1 now on the Aatrox.
I have questions. I have a couple of questions here. I don't think any of them I can say on broadcast.
Yep. I think we have the same questions.
We are getting a little silly.
Gonna land there. Only just hard winning that trade the second that E2 lands. So very, very potent trading pattern coming through for this Sylas. And potentially another fight happening here. Reggie still has that flash. Did not end up burning that in that top dive, but only over the wall. Trying to find it, does not land the abduct, so will not be able to connect with Reggie. Trying to just walk up, take that chicken camp, but forced out of the jungle, and Oolong T just died. Reggie gonna get run down. Petricite Burst not quite gonna land. Weaver's Wall coming in. Gets over, the sleep coming through as well, only gonna get knocked away, but Sycamore does find the kill. Gets the watch out Eep as well for that kill, so double kill going over to the Lilia. Traded back Wild Psyduck picking up that one, but Scion in the area. Solar Flare available for Omli should it be used. Does end up popping it. Leona gonna fall, and Kiddu's gonna pick that one up. Dark Passage there, trying to get the ward down to prevent that. Youngest Lee still trying to run this down. The Flake comes through, and Kiddu might be the sacrifice at this point, but Oolong T is in the area. Might be trying to trade this back. The Thresh will end up falling. Shrimp gonna pick that one up. 3-0 now on the Ashe.
3-0 on the Ashe, but still a good couple of kills going the other way. And throughout all of this, because Scion is in the bot lane, we can't die here. That's really bad.
Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through. Shrimp now 4-0 on Ashe. That's tough.
Yeah, that was actually a really good trade, I think, until the Xayah died.
Yeah.
Until that last death, that was a really solid trade for Retirement Home. The problem just became, like, yeah, we gave away a lot at the end there. Now the Ashe got 3 kills out of that entire exchange.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. It was looking fine because you had the Aatrox on the top side pushing while Siam was gone. But all that just gets immediately negated.
Yeah, and I mentioned during the draft, Ashe, not your highest damage AD carry, but I mean, if you're 4-0, you suddenly do a lot more damage than people would expect. So getting this early lead on Ashe just means you will be way further ahead of the rest of the game. Already has that Kraken Slayer, while also detouring for a Cole, mind you. It's 9 minutes in, double starting items, and still Kraken Slayer advantage.
Yeah, it is. This Ashe is going to be actually scary. And the thing with Ashe, too, is, like, Ashe is always one of those champions where if Ashe falls behind, just feels very useless. Becomes a utility character, and that is not what you want out of that position. If Ashe is ahead, all of a sudden, Ashe is just as good as every other AD carry, and has all the utility added on that Ashe has. It's one of those champions that has such a binary, like, good or bad. And when you're 4-0, you feel absolutely unstoppable as Ashe.
The death sentence just going to end up fairly short there, but Drake, again, I don't think we've seen a single Drake go over to the side of Retirement Home in this series at this point. It's seemed like it's been 4-0 souls in games 1 and 2, right. So just Reggie on point when it comes to these early objectives, and I think they've only given up 1 Rift Herald, if I recall, so really, really just tight grasp on the neutral objective game.
Scion ult in the top lane.
Yeah, not too much should come of that. Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes wide. Dark Passage available, but not able to be clicked. Reggie going to find that kill onto Sicko Mode in the jungle. Big pick for basically this entire quadrant now, just for free for this Kindred.
huge there, as now we're going to be looking around here. I want to see next objectives, because we have seen some objectives go over to retirement home, but like you've said, the dragons have entirely gone over the other way around to RV, and now more trading up on this top side. Scion's starting to get a little bit more beefy.
Yeah, Aatrox trying to drain tank through, but that Bramble Vest is available. That said, still able to just kind of out-heal all of the damage that Youngest Lee is doing. So, yeah, and anytime that Q is channeled, you just see instantly getting interrupted. So it does pop the World Ender, but ultimately does so, wins that trade super hard. Will take the reset, more than likely. Nope, gonna stay in the lane, try and pressure the Scion to stay. So, interested to see if anything will come of that. Meanwhile, looks like Sicko Mode might actually want this. Interrupt coming through on that Q3 as well. The flash coming out from Youngest Lee. Swirl Seed lands, Lilting Lullaby. Watch out, Eep. Not going to be burned, just going to use the Q to get that kill. So, not really a dive, but kind of a dive. Clean kill pickup in that top side for retirement home.
Good stuff there, and a big needed kill. We're also seeing early on here the Leandry's getting picked up. Engage.
Flay. Solar Flare coming down as well, and Kitty's going to be taken extremely low. Has to flash out. And Oolong Tea also extremely low, so Shrimp just dominating the lane. Oh, Oolong Tea still extremely low. Only in the area, does not have the Weaver's Wall stolen, so will not be able to hard force anything, but does make sure the bot lane is able to just back away pretty safely.
So this is how this can kind of domino effect, though, because the Ashe got so far ahead that was such an advantageous trade for RV and the bot side. They get to push that wave in. They force the Sylas to come down, walk down to the bot side, which gives time for the
Sicko Mode doesn't have the ult. Watch out, Eep gonna go on to Wild Psyduck. Flashes away, only has the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, does pop it. Oolong Tea finds the kill with the Q, so able to get a kill out of all of that. Weaver's Wall popped as well, so a lot of cooldowns burned from the side of RV, and retirement home coming out on top.
Good stuff there. I honestly was not expecting that to go well. I'm not sure about the flash. We have seen a couple of interesting AD carry flashes from the side of retirement home, and they've not all Oolong Tea. So
yeah, this is the first game, as a reminder, that Oolong Tea is the AD carry.
This is a team thing.
Yeah,
this is not a player thing.
But first turret potentially about to fall up in this top side. Youngest Lee just trying to keep the wave out of range, and it doesn't look like Romy wants to try and go for it. Probably the safer play with Kindred in the area, so playing it slow, not wanting to lose too much as a result. So we shall have to see where that first turret ends up falling. Of course, one Drake for the side of RV. Retirement home with those two neutrals potentially contesting that objective feat, but first turret falls on the top side. Reggie gonna find the engage onto Romy, flashing forward actually. Reggie taken to about half HP, still has access to the ult though. Sundered Sky Healing doing a lot of work, but will end up falling. Youngest Lee gonna pick up that kill in the top side. Meanwhile, down in this bot jungle, Wild Side are gonna be taken low, gonna get stunned up. Oh, lands the Zenith Blade. Not sure you wanted that one, but the Solar Flare comes through. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow on top. Shrimp gonna be taken low, taken almost down. Gonna flash away, but Oolong Tea in the backside ends up finding that kill. Meanwhile, the flash into the Kindred ult lands Respite, trying to keep him alive. No! Minazuki, 1 HP. Oolong Tea is gonna find that kill, but has no pullback on the feathers. Reggie finding the double kill with the hero play. And RV finally winning a fight.
Oh my goodness. Just across the map, crazy play after crazy play. We get the Aatrox at the top side, surviving for a long time. But the fact that the Kindred did not get hit by those Qs meant the healing did not come through, and Romy does fall fairly easily afterwards. Bot side, there's a catch on to the Leona, and you said that Zenith play may not have been what they wanted. I think it was exactly what Psyduck wanted, because it was just the engage turning into something
Flash,
more.
Shield of Daybreak. Zenith Blade already burned. No ultimate available, but another Shield of Daybreak comes through. Dashes out, and the Dark Passage. Oh, beautiful read from Enkidu. And gets the hook down onto Wildside Hook. World Ender popped. We're getting Aatrox getting that reset finally, but Kindred jumping forward. Reggie trying to find that last kill, gets auto down extremely low, and then another reset coming through for the Aatrox. Romy doing so much work. Lilting Lullaby still not available, but only in the area. Cyanol comes through, does end up landing Shrimp. Still relatively healthy in the backside. Cyanol available for the Silas, though, is end up popping it. Now Shrimp, the threat, gets hit with that Kingslayer into the Abduct. Hook goes wide. Youngest Lee just trying to get out, tank up as much damage as possible. Only going to sidestep. No Abduct coming through onto this Scion for the time being, but Retirement Home take the fight and should be taking the Drake.
These fights are getting wild and crazy, and they're giving up just yet only is backing away. They don't go for the dragon here. They took too long. They can't do it now. Leona's coming back. There's the Weaver's Wall to just make sure they can't even move onto this dragon now. And that's a second dragon that's going to go over to RV. One that I think really should have been all for Retirement Home.
Yeah, and especially considering the Lilia ult not available in that fight leading up to this. They win the fight. Lilia ult comes back right around the same time as that Drake would have been taken, so potentially could have looked to take a fight anyway. It seems like a missed opportunity to me, but either way, they do take the fight. They still feel like they're fighting back in this game, which, again, considering how the early games, or sorry, the mid games rather, were going in games 1 and 2, this is a very promising sign right now for a Retirement Home team that really needs to just find anything to get a win in this series.
Let's see, Rift Herald picked up. This is really needed here, I think, for Retirement Home if they want to keep this momentum forward. I think they really, really want to make sure that they are still in the driver's seat, because while they have been throughout a lot of this, there's those grasps for power coming from RV, and they need some way to just really start dominating this game.
Yeah, it does still seem like they're fighting a little bit on the back foot, but when they get those angles onto certain RV members that are a little over aggressive, they do find the angle. World Ender pop, Solar Flare onto 2, Decimating Smash lands onto them as well. Oolong T just can't find a way in. Pain Train comes through. Feather Storm as well. Blade Caller not going to find an angle. Lilia's in the area, though. Sleep down onto 2. Meanwhile, Reggie, though, into the back line, able to do so much work. And Romy trying to trade something back. Minazuki taken extremely low. Kindred ult coming through. Lamb's Respite gonna do so much work here. And Oolong T flashes in, but ultimately Reggie comes out on top. Triple kill for the Kindred.
I'm going to be really honest here. Oolong T had a possibility to win that fight, and I think just misplayed it. The flash into the Kindred ult, and then using the Blade Caller immediately, pulling feathers the other direction towards the Xayah, just not hitting anybody, while the Kindred ult was still on as well. If there was just a little bit more patience to throw out more feathers and then Blade Caller after the Kindred ult ends, there's a possibility you can win that fight. But it is important to mention, Omni was not even there for that fight. Got that tier 2 tower on the bot side, so there was a lot of trading happening while on top of that a tower went in favor of Retirement Home.
Yeah, but now you're looking down the barrel of 2 really strong ranged marksmen, right? Kindred, 6 and 3. Did have to take a detour for that Executioner's Calling, but ultimately, like, will be able to do a ton of damage in these fights. Ashe, we already mentioned, very accelerated in this game. Has been the focus for a while, but now you're starting to see where this Kindred is really starting to make its mark. Showing up to these fights later, cleaning up at the end of it, and just baiting so much, and then popping that ult, keeping the fight going. This composition right now for RV is finally starting to hit its stride.
Mm-hmm. It has taken a bit here. I do want to see if we have the... How many stacks is this Kindred at this point? Because that is a huge thing. We're at 3
Only
stacks.
At 3.
Yeah, we are not at a power point yet here. We need 4 on this Kindred. Not going to use the sleep there because the Kindred ult is ready to go. Romy still pushing on this top side as well.
Yeah, just trying to trade against the Scion. Does have the Black Cleaver now, so we'll be able to do a lot more work in this isolated matchup. As it ultimately will still just be you're hitting a Scion, so kind of just hitting a beefcake a bunch.
Well, you also have to remember that's healing through the Bramble Vest, through the Thornmail Grievous Wounds. So
yep.
that is a lot. And now Taliyah may be caught out.
Yeah, Minazuki has no access to that E, now gets it back, but already burned the flash, has no ability to use the Weaver's Wall. Scion teleporting in as well. Might just be a bit too late on that one. Dark Passage lands. Leona does not find the engage, but Enchanted Crystal Arrow down onto the Lily. It doesn't get the sleep off. Crucially, Kindred ult coming through from only not able to find its mark. Gonna get ignited down. Barely stays alive, but meanwhile on the backside, now Oolong T is here. Shrimp taken extremely low. Aatrox trying to find the kill, trying to find the reset. World Ender ends, and now Oolong T just trying to kite out the Scion, and Kiddu's not going to be able to find the kill onto the Ashe. Double kill for the 80 carry of RV, and the Blade Caller does work, but now TP coming in from Omli might be a little too late at this point. TP's back into that Decimating Smash, trying to take the trade. Leona's going to end up falling. Omli still relatively healthy. Kindred ult comes through. Oolong T trying to just take this fight, holding, and the feathers just don't quite hit where you'd want. Omli, though, finds the Kingslayer down. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is available for the Silas. Decimating Smash does not do anything, does not find the mark. Enchanted Crystal Arrow down onto the Scion. And now Young Slee has to flash out. Abscond of Duct gonna land, but Minazuki comes back at the end of all of that to find the kill onto the person that killed them to start it.
Wow. That was legitimately a fight that went so long. Taliyah was able to spawn back and TP in to continue the team fight. These fights are just going so damn long. And on top of that, I don't think that was an advisable fight there for Retirement Home. Is now Dragon is getting started up. Kindred is into the backline. There is no Kindred ult.
Yeah, crucially, no ability to keep this Dragon alive and try to bait out the smite timers. Lilia does end up picking up the Drake. Sleep onto all 3, but the knockup coming through. The hook landing onto the Kindred, though, and that's so much damage gone at the start. Zanti is now here. Shrimp trying to come in from the side, but the fight might already be decided. Minazuki gonna end up falling as well. Double kill for Oolong T. And once again, Retirement Home gets their first Drake of the series, and look at the fight that they win it with.
Beautifully played there. Great sleep to set everything up, and then they bursted down the Kindred. They took the Taliyah down as well, and Ashe did not show up until fairly late. Granted, Oolong T was not there for a lot of that either, but that front-loaded damage when you don't have the Kindred ult to save yourself for a little bit afterwards and buy some extra time does become really, really impactful. And that means that we're now going to see our first Dragon given over, finally, to Retirement Home.
No one beats Retirement Home 11 times straight, is what they're saying at this Drake fight. So, it was picking up Drake 11 of this series.
Wow, that was Drake 11. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was quick, but it does look like Aatrox probably getting run down a little bit here. Pops the World Ender, trying to get that extra move speed to get out. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does end up going wide. So Romy able to find the escape. So again, that pretty massive utility pick tool coming out from this Ashe, not going to be available for a decent amount of time, all things considered, at this point in the game.
Baron going to be spawning now as the mid lane getting pushed in by RV. First time they have been on the back foot definitively in this series.
Yeah, and it looks like Lilia trying to find the angle in, but just going to get Chain CC'd. Solar Flare coming down as well. Sleep down onto just the Ashe, but does seem to be the person you want to focus. Cleanse going to be forced there. Wild Psyduck trying to find the way back in, but will be taken low. Williams Respite coming through as well. Flay onto 3. Aatrox still alive. Only getting the kill onto Shrimp in the backside, but Talia having to go golden, gets taken down anyway. It's a quick 3 for 0, punishing that overstep in that mid lane. Baron on the table for the side of Retirement Home.
Baron for Retirement Home, and they are once again starting to snowball a little bit further. Going to be seeing Sion take that tower, but that is the best that they're going to get here, as Sion has the ult ready to get away, but might want to use it to fight here, as Kindred has shown up.
Reggie trying to just take this trade, will take the kill, so Baron going over to the side of Retirement Home, trading it for an Aatrox. He probably shouldn't have walked up that far, but it's fine.
Will be a tower going down now in favor of Retirement Home. Now they've got to find their way out, because Kindred is coming back here. Again, no Kindred ult here. I believe the
Asholt's available.
Asholt is available. They have the Lily ult.
Trying for it though. Yeah, and they just back off. Feel like they could have just tried to play on that Asholt, start the fight with the Enchanted Cursilero, and then if it misses, okay, then you can disengage whatever, but would have liked to see some attempt to try and punish that overstep. Definitely felt like they were too far forward for the side of Retirement Home.
Now we're in a kind of tumultuous state of the game right now. Because, yeah, okay, we have seen a lot of fighting, and it has been mostly Retirement Home that's been winning. But not only. And we have seen those big plays that have been able to turn that around, and nothing is stopping those plays from happening again here, as now the engage looking to maybe happen, as there is a little bit of a pinch coming through. Doesn't get the Zenith Blade.
Oh, and Wild Psyduck is now very out of position. Swirl Seed gonna land. Another Q coming through. Solar Flare down onto just the Leona, forcing the flash early. Sicko Mode just gonna have to try and get out. Dark Passage over the Unraveled Earth, just for fun, I suppose. But Teleport now coming in from Romy. Looks like they do want to try and force a fight here. Drake spawning in 30 seconds does make sense.
Now things are tough for Retirement Home, because they have to check this, as they are going to see the Scion and maybe catch him out.
Oh, Scion ult negated by Scion ult. So very crazy interaction there. But one of those things has a much longer cooldown. Only will be able to just steal another ult here in about 5 seconds time. So very, very potent cooldown to get off the table for the side of RV. Because now it looks like the Ashel is going to be the target from Only. Swirl Seed going to go wide. Root down onto the Scion. He's going to be taken relatively low. Ult comes through onto Leona, taken to about a third HP. Youngest Lee taken extremely low. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Reggie is going to be taken low as well, having to pop the Kindred ult to keep Leona alive. Up top, Romi's still trying to take the fight, but ultimately only finds the kill on the Wild Psyduck to start it. Swirl Seed into the Lilting Lullaby. Ash taken low, will get taken down. Meanwhile, up top side, the Youngest Lee trying to take the exit out. Gets another ult taken so low, but ultimately it will end up falling. Double kill now for Sicko Mode, as Kindred's just on the Drake this whole time. Sure, Reggie, that's pretty sick. It's down to about 2k, and it looks like it's actually just going to be taken. Yeah, does end up taking that Drake, but will they pay with their life? Probably not. Yeah, Romy missing that, but is on a ward, and just dies. This game's chaos, Tessa.
Yeah, getting a lot of work here. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't even know where to go, man. It's just, you're right. It's just chaos. It's just all over the place, and we're hitting like such a late game point. Is Kindred better off at stacks, by the way? Because I think that's an important thing to discuss at this point.
I would hope the Kindred's at least at 4, right? Like, that's
at least at 4. Yeah,
you'd have to think after how much team fighting. You'd have somebody marked that just like happens to die in the fight.
Where you're able to get into the enemy jungle at some point.
Yeah,
and get in here, but we'll have to see. Do get the vision plant there, which will help them see just a little bit around this Baron area, as we are a minute and a half away from that. Soul point for RV as well, so that's another thing to keep our eyes on for the timers.
Yeah, and especially considering Reggie should probably not have gotten that Drake, all things considered, let alone a kill with it. There was a hard-winning fight for the side retirement home, and they just kind of sat mid lane. Like they chased the fight too far, so instead of taking the win, they end up going into the bottom half a little too late, and now we see pause coming through. It's been a while since we've had one of these, I think. Haven't had to have fun pause time midway through game 3 of a potentially series deciding game.
Yeah, so it's now kind of in a scary state because this Kindred is online, to be entirely clear. Kindred has hit it, like, regardless of stacks, we're at 11 kills on the Kindred. Yeah. Like, Kindred is scary. Sion is getting very beefy, as we saw in that last fight. Was pretty difficult to kill. Ashe starting to fall off a little bit. The Xayah is hitting a bit of a stride. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing in these fights has been, one, Aatrox's ability to stay alive in these, and two, Lilia's sleep has just kind of really opened up these fights and bursted down people, especially when split. If everybody is split, the Kindred ult can't save everybody. And that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of item breakpoints that are being hit right now. Things like the Xayah just sitting on the Lost Chapter for the time being, or Lost Chapter, yep. Last Whisper, that one. I swear I know my items and I'm not a mid laner. Trust. But once that armor pen item is fully completed, that's when you're going to see a lot of that damage shred through Sion, honestly. I think at this point, just sitting on the Last Whisper, it's not a ton. But on the flip side, like you mentioned, Kindred, Collector, and Trinity Force already. That is a lot of damage on champions that are not really building a lot of armor. So that will be relatively effective, as I believe we should be getting back into the game here in a second. But it does feel like each of these fights is extremely close. And like you mentioned, the Lilia ult just doing so much work time and time again.
Yeah, it's the Lilia ult is just doing a between the CC of it and just the burst. The burst is really proving to be a problem. It's really, because they'll fall asleep and Kindred won't be in range to get over. And the difference being is, like, when somebody's low HP and Kindred's trying to go, we'll get to that in a second, maybe. No, just a little bit of poke. Okay, so when someone is low and running to Kindred and Kindred's running to them for the ult, that's different than they're asleep, and if I do not get in range of them now, they will die, because it's just the Kindred running over. You don't have the other champion running towards Kindred. It's harder to get the ult there, is my point.
Yeah. It's not like the good old days where you could press R on the person you wanted to ult as the Kindred. Back on release. I'm old. Anyway. Yeah, just jockeying for position, trying to get vision around this Baron pit, and Wild Psyduck sitting on a ward. Does have access to the flash, I believe, so dodges out from that Swirl Seed. Youngest Lee trying to get into the bush. Death Sentence going to go wide. Yeah, just looking at another pause.
Looking at another pause. I like where your head's at. Brennan, you knew it was coming. You felt it in your bones.
Yeah. I mean, this is what you mean by the pause after the pause, right? They just...
No, this is not the post-pause pause. We already had the post-pause pause. This is the post-pause post-pause.
So are we going to get a post-pause? How many posts are we pausing?
I'm pausing 3 posts.
All right, we're getting derailed as we wait for the spectator client to catch back up. The pause after the pause after the pause after the pause that just happened. So, just very crazy.
There's so many layers.
It's like an ogre.
We need to go deeper. Oh, dude. Like, okay. See, like, this is what I mean by my jokes are funny, right? Like, I'm
sure the game will get started again soon, right? You can move when you feel like it.
But... Take your time. It's okay.
Yeah,
Take your time.
we shall see. I mean, like we were saying though. Okay, everything's thrown out the window. Ash has a bloodthirster. This
Ash does
seems
have a
not normal.
bloodthirster. This does seem a little not normal, and I think there's fear. There is fear struck in the heart of Shrimp. You're scared, right? Because the amount of I think the biggest thing right here is just Lilia Burn is causing problems. Lilia
Yep.
Burn is you get hit by an E, quarter of your HP is gone.
Yep.
At this point, you get hit pretty hard. If you get hit by a sleep and you get out alive, you need a way to get back into the. So that lifesteal is giving you that opportunity where it would not otherwise. So hopefully that does mean we're going to get a little bit more onto the onto the Ash, at least into these fights. But it doesn't solve the problem. I think is the big thing. Is just like, yeah, somebody can get killed kind of haphazardly by this sleep. The Silas ults also, I want to call out, have been really, really influential. We see with the Ash ult ready to go right now. The Scion ult stealing has been good. The Leona ults from Omli have been really good as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to note is that it seems like every fight we've watched in the last like 5 to 8 minutes, it's been Silas getting 2 or 3 ults off in a fight. It's starting the fight by taking Scion ult, forcing the Scion ult out from the Scion with the Scion ult, then turning right after, while that's on cooldown, saying, all right, now I take the Ashe ult, finding the pick, and then right after that, you take the Leona ult and you find another pick with it right after. So, like, it's just these cascading cooldowns being used, and Omli is the one taking advantage of it time and time again.
Yeah, it's been very, very solid. As we are still hitting the pause here, which I'm not at this point. I've not seen a post pause.
This better not be the bug that existed like years ago.
But yeah, I think we'll try and figure it out here. We're gonna send it to a quick break while we figure out how to unpause the post pause.
Welcome back, everybody. The bug came back. It's from how many years back, Tessa, was that a thing?
Don't ask me to remember years, man.
It was like 3, I think. But
Yeah.
the classic bug of the game just like crashing in the spectator client when the game is
Mhm.
completed. So, as you can tell from the fact that we are in a draft and RV was up 2-0 in the series, Retirement Home did end up closing out game number 3 of the set. Unfortunately, could not recover the spectator data for that game. So here we are, game 4, and a lot of things off the table. I think we're gonna still see like 27 jungle bans across this series. So
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot as we're still seeing the Gragas, still seeing the Rengar and the Viego. Retirement Home do not want to give that up very clearly. Do they keep banning here in the Wukong? That was the other one. Vi. We're going back to the Vi ban. We're going to the Wu ban. So we are keeping things stable from this point on. Nobody is willing to budge. The Malphite is the first pick. That is wild to me.
I mean, is this where we start getting the weird jungler picks that got buffed on this patch? Malphite jungle got bonus damage on his W against jungle camps.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Because like, okay, when I thought Malphite jungle, I was like, that was like the full AP Malphite. And they literally nerfed AP Malphite as a whole because of that. Now it's going to be tank Malphite. We're picking Mundo as a response here. So we're just tanks with no CC. All tanks, no CC.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, Malphite is a lot of CC, but
okay, Malphite is a lot of CC, but it is a once every couple of minutes CC.
Yeah. But, I mean, of note, Malphite also, generally people are scared of locking this champ early, because you will just see the Sylas as the response.
Yep.
Sylas not available. Fearless
that is true.
Taking its toll. So, feeling comfortable saying this is a strong champ and saying, all right, there's not really a pick that can go against it. So we see the Malphite. Now you see the Kai'Sa, so adding into that extra dive has some outplay potential when something like Mundo just kind of runs at her. You get the plasma stack, you ult away, you can kind of kite out your fights, and a lot more independent in AD carry pick, I would say.
Yeah, speaking of independent AD carry picks, Retirement Home are having that Ezreal for themselves, so they will have something mobile for themselves as well, something that can get away from that Malphite. However, other reason why people don't first pick Malphite a lot of times is because of the magic damage that can be picked into it. Alistar is another big, beefy frontliner that synergizes really well with this dive. So RV have made it very clear what they want to do. And I love the Braum. I think the Braum is a great pickup here. You have Ezreal, who can proc the passive from a decent distance, use the Q as an auto reset to a degree in terms of proccing that Braum passive. Dr. Mundo has an auto reset in the E as well. There's a lot of ways you can get this Braum passive off really fast. And that's before we even get into how much of an anti-dive champion Braum is. The shield, the ult, the extra resistances that he gives his allies. There's so much that this champ does at stopping what exactly a Kai'Sa type of composition wants to do.
Yeah, and one major thing to note, Ezreal has kind of shifted his identity over the course of the last few years. Often was that, like, you sit on, like, leave him alone, leave him on an island, and he'll scale into the game just fine kind of champion. He is firmly a lane bully right now. So pairing it with something that is as potent as the Braum early against an Alistar who's, frankly, a kind of worthless champ at level 1, I would expect to see a lot of early aggression coming out from the bottom lane of Retirement Home, and to the point where we might even see a late invade, an early invade, try to shut down the opposing jungler, and a lot of mid lane focused bans right now, and also Jace. Jace is there too. That's pretty cool. Hi, buddy. But getting rid of the Galio, some more dive follow up, and on the opposite side, getting rid of the consistent damage champions, Azir, Victor, and now we see the Ahri being hovered. Not huge on it in this game. Kind of hard to pilot into Kai'Sa, Alistar in particular, but if this champion gets off the ground, if she gets any sort of a lead, she is suffocating to try and play against.
You're I think the big thing with Ahri is that you're not just looking to dive. You can use that ult defensively to get away from a Malphite ult, to get away from the Alistar. You can also use it to get in onto the Kai'Sa if Kai'Sa's in a bad position. There's flexibility here, and I think the big thing is that it also brings wave clear to this team to allow them to just, because like Ezreal's great, he's not the best at pushing waves, he's not the best at clearing waves until he gets his ult. He can use that more frequently. Syndra is the lock-in here, which is very good into that Ahri lane. Very much a bully. With the Alistar roams as well, you're looking at an Ahri lane that needs to be very careful until that 6 mark. And that's before we even get to the possibility of a jungler that wants to go in onto that mid lane as well.
I mean, that's assuming it's not Malphite jungle. Which it's not. It is. It's happened. We're getting fun junglers again.
Well, I just don't know how I feel about Malphite jungle. Like when it was AP Malphite, it was just a tactical nuke every minute and a half.
Yes.
With tank Malphite, like, am I really that scared of a tank Malphite walking at me from the jungle?
I mean, I think tank Malphite does just as much damage as AP Malphite right now, but that's a different story. Is Pantheon's going to be locked in here, so I think it's Mundo top then?
I think it's Mundo jungle, Pantheon top.
Okay.
I think the Pantheon is picked into the Renekton. I don't think it's the greatest pick into the Renekton, but I think Mundo jungle is better than the Pantheon jungle, especially too because Mundo and Malphite are basically doing really similar things as they are big beefy guys that are going to be really hard to kill and do enough damage to be scary.
Yeah, and I think of note, it seems like Retirement Home's entire composition is counter engage, right? They want to be the ones not necessarily pulling the trigger, but disengaging from the fight and playing on the Glacial Fissure, playing on the Charm, and looking to eat a bunch of cooldowns, soak a bunch of damage, turn the fight back around, and then just there's no cooldowns left for the enemy team. So
they're pulling the post-trigger trigger.
Yeah, the post-pause, post-pause,
post-trigger pull, post-trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got there. Landed.
We lost our minds after game 3's end. So.
The fun part is I never had one to begin with.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about casting with me. There's nothing going on up there. I just say what's in my head.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what these like how these comps actually, I guess it's really just Retirement Home that could flex between top jungle. I think I'm in agreement with you. I think it probably will be Mundo in the jungle, but there's always a world, right, where you get that one top laner who watched a little too much push and is like, this is my calling. So who knows? Based off their lineups, it looks like we're doing Pantheon top, so we'll see. Of course, I think things could be moved around because pick order and customs is weird sometimes, but ultimately, yeah, I do really like this counter engage comp coming out from Retirement. I think they have a lot of tools to turn a fight in their favor, but they just have to live that initial fight, right? That's the concern I have. Malphite into Kai'Sa Syndra is a lot of damage to come through. And if Ahri pops or if Ezreal pops, the fight is much harder for them to pilot.
Oh yeah, if either of them go down, not just both of them, but either of them go down, your damage profile drops significantly. Because Ahri and Ezreal are not high damage picks. They are picks that do enough damage while having their own mobility to still have power. You take one of those down, you're kind of limping along while you're missing a wheel on your car. And it's not ideal. I am keeping my eyes, too, on this top lane, because if Renekton starts going, Renekton is going to be too tanky to deal with on top of an Alistar Malphite. Pantheon, on the other hand, getting ahead, is very much like nobody can individually deal with the Pantheon. but Pantheon is less of a team fight champion.
Yeah, and of note, Pantheon players sometimes, I'm going to say sometimes, will actually opt into the Ignite. It's kind of similar to Quinn, where with that ult, you can kind of just be everywhere all the time.
Yep.
You have a ton of pressure. So, interested to see what's happened. Okay, well, the pick order's all weird. I don't trust this client.
I don't trust it.
Yeah, like, that's not Syndra jungle, but we'll see.
Malphite mid versus Braum mid. Do you know that matchup?
I wish I could say I didn't. But
small thing here. Also remember, empowered Pantheon W with Braum passive is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's fair. My one concern though, and this is going to be looking at RV's side, is if Kai'Sa isn't able to start shredding through Mundo, who does? Right? Syndra's not going to do it. And then you have 3 frontliners hitting a Mundo. So it'll be interesting to see how these fights progress in the later stages, because if Kai'Sa's not ahead, Mundo could just very easily take over this whole game.
Yeah, it's kind of just a question of like who is going to hit a snowball point first, because it goes back to like similar to that Ashe point of like if Arya or Ezreal can get ahead, then you have a champion with all of those strong points and none of the damage fall off, or none of the lack of damage that you have in those champions when they're even or behind. But if they fall behind, you're not looking at those health bars going down very often.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Backs against the wall once again for the side of Retirement Home. They brought us to game number 4 in this situation once. Can they force that tiebreaker game 5 rather, and compete for what will be a title match in a best of 1 setting? We'll find out right after a short break.
Until minions spawn.
We are in game 4 of RV versus Retirement Home. MXL joined by Thousand Eyes. And I know you hated the B1 Malphite, but how do you feel about B1 Malphite with Press the Attack?
There's a couple interesting things to note here. Press the Attack makes sense for like if you know you're W maxing and like okay, so here's the thing, right? Like what do you go usually? It's like Comet. You're not trading often enough for Comet to be like super useful. Grasp, you're not hitting people enough for Grasp. PTA, I can at least kind of see where it's coming. Your auto W reset, auto.
You're losing your mind.
I see the vision. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it, and obviously, tank jungle Malphite is a thing that has not really existed, so we're kind of just figuring it out as we go. So I see the vision at the very least. I also want to point out we have the TP on the Pantheon. We talked about having the Ignite. I like teleport on Pantheon because I think it gives you a lot of pressure. Even if you do ult, you could just TP back and you're not really even losing anything. You can just... There's a lot of flexibility there.
Yes.
Also, Summoner Spellbook on the Alistar. So we're going to see Double Smite. We're going to see a lot of really good objective control where we already have seen a lot from RV. We're likely going to see even more of it in this game.
Yeah, a lot of unique decisions coming through in this one, and this is this patch, right? The Malphite jungle in particular, we kind of hyped up. Might see some funky jungle picks. Didn't get anything fun for the first 3 games in terms of the okay, Kindred Lilia is fun, but like they're both junglers historically. So to finally see something like this Malphite come through, very entertaining game 4 draft, and who knows if Retirement Home is able to make that miracle happen again in game 4 here. Maybe we finally get the fabled Jace jungle versus Riven jungle matchup, right? Youngest Lee going to be taken very low. That Comet Spear doing a ton of damage, but I don't think it's going to ever be Jace jungle for the record, but it would be fun.
I hope with all my heart to never see a Jace jungle in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to cast it. I don't want to play it. I don't want it on my team.
I think it was played in the LCK in like 2017, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It's been a long time, but oh, Youngest Lee is going to cancel the reset. No mana for Romy in the top lane, so we'll be forced into that reset.
That's forcing the teleport as well, because Youngest Lee did get the teleport forced. So we'll be trading that. That does leave Mundo alone until that TP shows up. Youngest Lee now not having the backup from the Malphite is going to back away. So will be nothing really lost here, but had the potential for something to happen there.
Yeah, and looks to maybe want to dive here. Dive comes through. Flash forward from Sicko Mode as well. Flash going to be followed as the Comet Spear lands. Sicko Mode will end up falling, but no TP for Renekton. Loses this whole wave. Extremely worthwhile to invest that time from the side of Retirement Home.
I thought for a second Mundo was going to live that. There was a world where Mundo could survive. It was very close in the HP. However, like you said, the minions dying there means that Renekton loses so much. That's a huge wave lost by Youngest Lee. And when Pantheon's already a really strong lane bully champion against Renekton, who's usually a lane, now you're in a rough spot as Renekton. You're behind as Renekton, and that's never a place you want to be, even against these strong laners like Pantheon.
Well, and even look at just the itemization, right? D-Shield, Boots, Cloth Armor.
We're scared.
Very, very scared Renekton.
Scared.
So respecting the strength of this Pantheon and just trying to neutralize the lane. But like we said, the dive, sure, it goes 1-for-1. Maybe you would have liked it not to, of course, but ultimately Renekton falling further behind, Pantheon getting off the ground. And if Pantheon's able to get to that level 6 mark, look for maybe an ult play mid, get the RE accelerated.
Yep.
It cascades pretty quickly.
You can look for the ult mid. You could even back as TP will be coming up in a bit here. When your TP's back up, you can back and just ult bot lane.
Yeah.
You're going to be level 6 before Kai'Sa is. And you can put some pressure down. Kai'Sa will have to flash or something of the sort. Especially just in that longer lane. If you are Kai'Sa, you are probably going to push a little bit better than an Ezreal.
Aggressive trades coming through from the bot lane of Retirement Home. Wild Psyduck on the losing end of those. Of course, Alistar does have that passive. Will heal up over time. But yeah, I mean, like we've said, Romy's had the better lane so far in every game, it feels like. Even in the game, the Camille game, it wasn't necessarily the best performance or the best scoreline. The lane phase was very heavily in favor of Retirement Home up topside, so this has been their avenue to success in these early stages, as only takes that Scatter the Weak stun to the face. We see Reggie Level 5 Malphite just wandering around, looking a
He's
little lost,
hobbling.
waiting for the red buff.
We are getting close to level 6 on Malphite, and I would like to predict that level 6 Malphite is similar to level 6 Nocturne, where your first ult is going to matter.
Yep.
Because you are not much of a champion outside of that. So we'll have to watch to see. We have just pinged that level 6. So keep an eye on the Malphite if the first
Looking
ult
directly
actually
bot
makes it.
lane.
Yeah. No mana on this Ezreal. So not a bad place to look.
Yeah, but of note, you mentioned it has to hit, right? Like, if this Malphite ult doesn't start strong, like the Nocturnal, it's like a 2-minute cooldown at rank 1. It is not a short cooldown by any stretch early on, so it has to work, or you just, again, for the next 2 minutes, let this Mundo scale in further, and I don't think your team wants that to happen. Ult coming in top side. Romy actually taken extremely low. Has no mana left. Might just end up dying here. Kolamik does end up finding the kill for Youngest Lee. Solo kill in the dive. So right as we were praising the laning skills, Pantheon gets solo killed.
And I mean, that's just a difference of level 6 versus level 6. Pantheon does not get anywhere near as much in terms of fighting at level 6 as the Renekton. Renekton gets to be a powerhouse at level 6. Pantheon, he can go somewhere quick. It doesn't help him in the middle of a fight. So that's just that kind of coming into play there. Huge turnaround, though, for Youngest Lee, as now we are going to see the Grubs being contested over. We have moved supports up to the top side. Pantheon on the way is over on the bottom side of those Grubs to force them away, thanks to that ultimate there. So even though Pantheon dies, doesn't lose anywhere near as much for the team as a lot of other champions probably would.
And it looks like actually the response is to just give the Grubs over to Retirement Home, and Oolong T going to be the target. Teleport coming in as well from the Alistar and from the Pantheon just to try and keep this Ezreal alive. And it looks
That's
like
a
that
lot.
will succeed, but yeah, it's a teleport trade. Of course, one of them was spellbooks, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt. As now, Kidu, I don't think you want to be here. Headbutt Pulverize.
That's not the right way for that to go.
From Youngest Lee, it doesn't really matter. They don't have projectiles either way. So we'll just be able to walk out, but yeah, ultimately, I mean, that's 3 Grubs for trading your teleports, basically, as the charm lands. Minazuki
Good
half
damage.
HP.
Beautiful damage there by the Ahri. Ezreal still left alone on this bot side, and we've talked about how there's dive potential here. Not a lot of mana on this Ezreal. Alistar going to be caught out.
Nope.
Actually, no, it is going to be the Braum here. Needs a little bit of help from the Mundo. Will hop over the...
Yeah, no passive available for this Mundo, but Reggie doesn't seem to want it. No unstoppable force being used, and a kind of slow game. We haven't seen a game this slow yet. Like, I've been calling game 1 pretty slow, but like, at least there were 3 kills for a team at this point.
I can tell that you don't know what to do with yourself at this point.
Well, especially after last game where there was a kill every 5 seconds.
We're hitting. I think the realization that this is a real series has finally hit after we got a win. So both teams feel like they're playing a little bit less aggressive for different reasons. There's less desperation, and there's less. There's a little bit more care and focus as they realize, hey, we have to lock in here, or we are going to get run over by this Retirement Home team.
Yeah, getting run over by an entire Retirement Home sounds not great, but the shield coming through on that Renekton stun. Romy gonna get that Empowered W off. Another Q should be available shortly for the Renekton, but will not be able to find too much there. And meanwhile, bot side, I believe that was a plate going. Oh no, it was not. I'm just blind. It's okay. Scatter the weak lands. Only gonna take a little bit of damage, but still doing just fine there. And Sicko mode, making sure their top laner stays alive. Oh,
Bot lane.
Unstoppable Force used Headbutt Pulverizing Kidder, though. Still Braum, still taking very little damage. Glacial Fissure comes through. The shift from Oolong T gonna do a decent amount of damage, but it's not quite gonna be enough. But again, that first Malphite ult, like we were saying, it took about 2 minutes for it to be used and did not result in a kill. Not even a summoner from the looks of things. Maybe just the barrier, but That's tough.
Whoa, that is an aggressive step forward. That we forced the summoner in the end. The exhaust bird from Nikita.
Yeah, we forced our own summoner. Yeah, that's tough. But Enkidu's going to be taken very low. Scatter the Weak on only going to be taken to about half HP. Finds the Q onto the Shrimp. Is forced to ult out. Wild Psyduck, though, staying alive. That ult just doing so much work. Meanwhile, Sicko Mode flashing into the back line, getting stunned up, but not able to heal quite enough. And just a double kill for the tank Malphite.
Okay, so we talked about how we wanted to see more objective control here.
Flash forward from Reggie to scatter the weak. The orb does not land, but
what?
Yeah, only was getting burned by the Faded Ashes, the full build item. So probably could not have lived there. Does end up falling, but from bad to worse for sure.
Yeah, and we talked about how we wanted Retirement Home to play a little bit more around dragons and not just give them up so easily. However, I think that was one of those situations where we really did want to see them give it up a little more.
Yeah.
Because they were not at an HP threshold to be able to fight that at all. Mundo was one of the only people that was genuinely healthy. And without your Braum to frontline and apply those passive stacks, and to just keep that Ezreal safe and alive, this comp starts to fall apart pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And especially considering Ari starting that fight, getting stunned up by the Syndra, losing about half her HP before starting anything, and trying to go all in right after. Just a little eager, I would say. I think optimistic might be a better phrase, but
I think panicked is the right way to put it.
Okay.
They were like, oh, if we want to fight this dragon, but we got to do it like now because I can't stay alive if I don't go right now. And that just starts a chain reaction at that point.
But item completion starting to come through. Blackfire Torch for the Syndra, Malignance for the Ari. Pretty standard items for both these champs, of course. More access to ultimates on Ari. People love seeing that. Triforce still not quite complete for the Ezreal. Should be getting close to that, I would think, but Kai'Sa already on that Kraken Slayer. So these one item spikes just so strong for the side of RV at the time, at the moment rather.
Seeing a little bit of movement here. Alistar maybe look for the fight.
Yep, Charm gonna be burned. We see that Unleashed Power come through as well, and yeah, they turn Syndra into a late game champ, so that really doesn't do a lot of damage at this point in the game. Scatter the Weak, though, lands onto 2. Stun coming through onto Romy. Reggie in the area does have access to the ult, will end up popping that. No shield available for the Pantheon from the looks of things. The flash in!
Ooh.
The Glacial Fissure onto 2, Headbutt Pulverized back onto 2 as well. The knockback from that Scatter the Weak doing so much work. Teleport coming in, though, and Ari is not where she wants to be, trying to find a way out. Youngest Lead just going to heal up off the wave here, and only just having the ult, but that Herald should be going over to the side of RV.
Yeah, they moved the Kai'Sa up for this fight. They really obviously want it, and they are going to confirm it for themselves, seemingly. Though there is a little bit of a push here.
Headbutt Pulverize onto 2. Does try and flash out, rather, and only just going to fall. So far, it looks to be...
him!
Oh, wait. He's still alive in the backside of all of that. Meanwhile, Mundo does not end up picking up that Herald. Will end up just falling. No ult available, so 4 for 0. Herald going over to RV. And it was close, but now it seems to be all RV in game number 4.
What? How did Alistar not die? just low HP. I assumed the cow was dead.
Yeah, I thought it was a 1-for-1, for sure.
Yeah, and just survives and just baits so much because they really wanted that Alistar kill and just misinterpreted it. To be fair, I misinterpreted how easily it would be able to they'd be able to kill that Alistar too. But in that time, Ari dies. They turn around and go, "Oh crap! Our one damage dealer is gone. Now we have nothing left for this fight because Ezreal was in the bot lane, was not ready for that."
Yeah, exactly.
And it just falls apart.
Yeah, the good news, I guess, is Ezreal, while in that bot side the whole time, did end up getting that bot tier 1, takes the first turret for the side of Retirement Home, but now they kind of need to contest this Drake if they want to get that feat of objective control. Strategy? I don't remember what they're called anymore, honestly. It's so bad. But they do have the 3 grubs. They have one of the 2 first Drakes, so they would be able to get that feat just off of the Drake take. But with this fight breaking out, should be breaking out shortly, it will be an explosive 5v5. Everyone just posturing for now. Scatter of the Weak goes wide. Rift Herald being summoned in the bottom side. Malphite being spotted out by the Mundo. Gets 2 men with the ultimate. Trying to go in. Glacial Fissure. The flash coming in from Renekton as well. Only being taken extremely low. And Oolong T is going to end up falling. Shrimp able to find that kill with that Killer Instinct coming in from the Kaisa. The knockup onto the Mundo as well. 3 quick kills. Probably going to be turned into 4. Scatter of the Weak as well for good measure. Minazuki finding that. Double kill for the Renekton. And only there's no flash on the Renekton, but I don't know how you get out of this one. Does not look likely.
Too many tower shots.
Do enough. Or Deception not gonna find it. Slice, no dice. Hex Flash comes through the charm onto the Alistar, but the Scatter of the Weak will find it. And Wild Psyduck able to stay alive. 5 for 0. The Drake, 14 kills to 1. It is now ballooning to a 5.5 thousand gold lead, I suppose, as Shrimp's gonna die to a Braum. 14-2. It's 14-2.
Just crazy. I feel bad for Only, because that was a sick charm. That was a sick charm. And didn't even get a kill out of that. And that's kind of sad. The other hand, Shrimp, what are we doing? I get we've given the shutdown to the Braum, which is like, who cares? But I don't know. It's a little shenaniganery. We do have the Braum is going for a Heartsteel, which is interesting. I've not seen Braum Heartsteel before.
Remember when you were asking me about the Malphite Braum mid matchup?
Yeah, I think
that might be the last time I've seen Heartsteel Braum, but
yeah,
Scatter the Weak lands blind. That's fun.
But we are now like hitting a breaking point. Ezreal is gonna start to like slowly reach an ending point in terms of just how powerful he's gonna be. Pantheon as well, to be honest. And then this Kaisa has been hitting evolves. We are hitting that break point there. Where are we ulting?
Onto the Renekton. Does end up getting stunned up after that ult. They're trying to body block him, but Youngestly just doesn't care and gets a kill, and Mundo has to run away. Omli is also 200 HP. Don't know how that happened, but Minazuki finding the Scatter of the Weak onto Enkidu. Not too much to come of that. So, yeah, a little overeager in that top side gank, and Mundo just clearing out that top wave should mean this Otacon is free for the side of RB.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I think that's a play you could go for if you're bed. I don't think it is a play you want to go for at that, especially against Renekton of all champions there. TP gonna force away, but that's a TP burn. That's TP burn just to try and get this Renekton low enough here. Pantheon is sprinting right now. We are investing so much into this.
Yeah, Youngest Lee going to be taken relatively low. Flash coming through from the Pantheon as well. Will be able to pick up the kill. They're kind of trapped, though, for the time being. And you see Reggie. Flash, Headbutt, Pulverize coming in. And that's just going to be a dead Ezreal under the tower. And Pantheon's dead. Does find the Execute. Omli, though, going to be trying to get out of this one. Minazuki taken relatively low. Reggie did find the Malphite ult in that bottom skirmish. And now Omli has to pop the ult to try and get out. Might be looking for Minazuki, but probably ill-advised. Although a lot of cooldowns burned, and does manage to dodge out from the Scatter of the Weak. Reggie, though, still full HP on this Malphite. Not really anywhere for Only to go. Teleport coming in as well now.
Now Only's in trouble.
From the Renekton. No, from the Alistar, that one. Shrimp is in the area. Only is just gonna die.
They didn't get the inhib. They backed before they got the...
I mean, all right. It's pre-Baron spawn, so, like, inhib not necessarily... You don't want to just, like, give over super minions of gold on repeat, but...
I guess, but, like...
Yeah, it's,
Oh my god. Okay, this is the part where my job gets hard, because my job is to analyze what just happened. And I don't think there's a soul alive that could break that down. Because we are making some silly choices, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about game 2 having a lot of desperate plays. I think chasing a Renekton through 3 turrets is pretty desperate.
We had desperate plays. We are beyond desperation. We have gone to nonsensical.
Malphite only landing onto Braum for the time being. Shrimp gonna get exhausted here. Pantheon just trying to live, but Shrimp able to do so much work. Dodges out from the charm. Is going to likely fall, but scatter the weak onto 3. Shrimp stays alive through all of it. And in a fight that looked, I'm not gonna say great, but not this good. Oh boy. Big fight win for RV is now... I don't know what you're supposed to do to come back from this one if you're retirement home.
That was desperation. That was desperation. Only flying in, whiffs the charm. That means Shrimp gets to stay alive, gets the invis to just hop out, and still outputs crazy damage. That was an absurd play from Shrimp to stay alive and still right on the edge of that fight. Just hit so many people.
Oh, Pantheon
put out work. Pantheon, I don't think that's actually going to work.
Lash from Minazuki forced. Charm does land. Scatter the Weak does not. And Romy steals that kill from Only. Wild Psyduck, though, going to be taken low. Will be taken down. Did not have that Unbreakable Will. So is just 2 quick picks back. But, I mean, you increased your kills by 50%. So
that means they're doing 50% better.
Yeah.
In this game. The kills went out of the Pantheon, and I think that's just not where you want them right now. I think Pantheon is I think Pantheon is a dead fish in water at this point. We are not accomplishing much by getting Pantheon fed at this point. You want it on the Ahri to have that magic damage, to at least threaten things. You want it on that Ezreal, who has been emaciated this entire game. Has not been able to get a morsel of food into this little twink's tummy. It's been a struggle this time around.
I don't want to analyze what that sentence just was, but yeah, I mean, really dominant game 4 so far from RV, and currently sitting on 2 Mountain Drakes. If they get a 3rd with Mountain Soul, with Malphite, with Alistar, like, I don't know what the avenue back in is for retirement home, and Baron just gone for free. There's not really a fight to be had, and
we're gonna have it anyway.
Is just gonna die. He just gets stunned up, tries to pop the ult, and dies right away.
Yeah, not much to do, and it is feeling a little doomed, I think, because Mundo now 0-7 in this match. And that is a little bit of a death rattle here from retirement home. They're going to sit back here and try and hold. No.
We're not doing this. Riot.
There's no shot. There's no shot it's happened again. Oh!
All right.
Man.
Well, while we wait for confirmation, Riot.
We're gonna have a chat. we gotta talk, right?
Yeah. Was nice to see these games on the winter map, of course, but I barring any sort of miracle, I think it is probably a safe bet that this game has concluded. The
What if the game
replay.
stopped because all 5 of their internet just went out at the same time?
Well, it would have to be all 10.
No. It's just 5.
No, the game would continue in a custom.
That's what I mean. Just like 5 of them lost internet, and now all of a sudden Retirement Home comes back and wins the game.
Oh, I see. So, yeah. Okay. So that's the confirmation we were looking for.
I can
Super
dream!
Anticlimactic way for this to end, because the spectator client broke. But ultimately, I think we all saw this coming based off of the way this game was progressing. RV does end up taking the title, a little lackluster away for it to end, of course, but this does mean that the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which was the charity they were supporting, will be winning $1,800 in charity money. And for Retirement Home, Pause for Hope Animal Foundation, $900. Same deal. Like, it's all for a good cause at the end of the day. Really, really happy with that outcome. And I don't know. It's really disappointing to see that be the way this ends.
I mean, okay. We had a lot of really fun moments in the series, though, to be fair. And it was not a 3-0. We did get a full... We got a real series that did turn into something competitive there, despite how it looked for a little bit. And I really wish we got to see at least like one more really strong stand from Retirement Home, because there was something there in Game 3. Something was in the water for Game 3 that really made them look threatening and scary. And I think just between... I honestly think a large portion of their struggles today were just draft related. Yeah.
I think we can probably point to games 1 and 2 in particular. I think game 4, the draft made sense, right? Like, it had ways to do things, and I think it does come down to execution. But like you mentioned in game 3, you don't have that wiggle room anymore of like, okay, we misexecuted because you already lost those first 2 games. So I think a decent showing, in specifically looking at game 3, and I think game 1 they also looked really, really good, but for Retirement Home and RV, just frankly, like, looking dominant anytime past 15 minutes across their wins. So really, really strong showing from them as well. I mean, ultimately, again, congrats to both teams for even making it this far. This tournament is not easy to get through. So very, very strong showing from both of our finalists, and always a pleasure to be doing it with you, of course, Tessa.
We never are short of shenanigans on these broadcasts. I fear, like, there's, whether it is us doing it or it is the teams doing it to us, I feel like we always have something funny happening in our matches, even if it's just in off air. But of course, that will be wrapping up the League of Legends Grand Finals here. But if you haven't had enough CEA action, the CEA's Winter Games do actually return next month. Of course, their usual branding of being corporate only does not apply to the Winter Games. So anyone can register for these. Each event is one day or weekend in December. I think the weekend only applies to Rocket League, but Saturday, December 13th, TFT and Battlefield 6. Sunday, the day after, on December 14th, everybody's favorite, League of Legends. And then that same weekend, both days, December 13th and 14th, Rocket League will be taking place. The following weekend, Saturday, December 20th, 2XKO, Riot's newly released fighting game that I totally have looked at, I swear, and StarCraft 2. And then the following day, that Sunday, Dota 2. Shoutouts to Finnick. More info, sign-up links, and rule sets will be announced on their Discord at cea.gg/Discord. So grab your friends and get ready. I'm excited to maybe even take part in that League of Legends thing, to be honest with you, but we shall see what happens in the following months. Tessa, you guys know it's a ban already, at least. That's if
all my champs were played tonight.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from you on the series or anything else relating to tonight's endeavors?
never change CEA because, like I said, it's just there is fun to be had in every single one of these series, and I love the energy that exists because there isn't anybody like we never have to deal with people arguing or getting upset. There's silly stuff that happens. Everybody is here to have fun and like make money for the charities as well. And I hope that that energy never leaves.
What a wholesome way to end that.
What did you want? Something mean from me? Like,
I don't
what?
know. Like you're a memer. Anyway, that's gonna do it from us here at the Corporate Esports Association League of Legends Finals. Once again, congratulations to RV taking that 3-1 victory over Retirement Home. And once again, keep an eye out, cea.gg/discord for those winter games next month. I've been MXL, joined by Thousand Eyes, our producer Fundy in the background. Thank you so much for running the stream, and we'll catch you in the next finals. See you next time.